I gotcha.
Welcome back to Fight Week on BT Sport. We are in Las Vegas for weigh-in day at UFC 285. I'm Adam Catterall. Pleasure as always to be in your company, and a pleasure as always to be in the company of these two. Look at them, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to rock and roll. Nick Peet and the Hall of Famer himself, Mr. Michael Bisping. The buzz is real now, man. It's on, isn't it? I mean, we turned up this morning. I know there's obviously a few fighters backstage ready to hit the scales and weigh in, and there's a little bit of nervous energy just floating around the Apex.
You are like a kid in a candy store, aren't you?
I've loved
the
it all
buzz
week.
is real. Yes, it's real. They're getting on the scale in a minute. They're getting in the cage tomorrow, and it's going to be absolutely epic. I cannot wait. The return of Jon Jones. Long overdue.
Absolutely long overdue, and obviously today, a big day. We get to see him on the scales for the first time in 3 years.
And the first time up at, probably somewhere in the 240, 245. I think he's going to be, obviously his entire career has been at 205 to this point. So it's going to be interesting to see him up there, nice and big, nice and thick, as we said yesterday when we seen him. But also, I'm looking forward to him going head-to-head with Ciryl Gane once again, because yesterday was fun and games. Today it's all business.
Well, it is all business. Right, let's get stuck into it. What have we learnt this week from these two guys? Because we spent a bit of time with Ciryl earlier on in the week. Cool, calm, collected. Yesterday we had the press conference. Obviously the interview that we had with John is available on the BT Sport YouTube channel. Make sure you go and check that out at some point today. Yep. He was cool, calm and collected. What have you made of both of these guys?
Yeah, I was going to say, to be honest, I don't think we've learned much, really. It's kind of what we already expected. Jon Jones, obviously, always confident, rightly so. He's coming and looking a little bit bigger. Yeah, okay, the image with the top off, he looks a little softer, but it's to be expected. He's put on like 20 pounds. Ciryl Gane, again, I spoke to him at length. Didn't give too much away. Listen, he knows what he's up against. He knows he's up against Jon Jones. He knows he's got to try and keep the fight on the feet. He knows that Jones is going to wrestle, I tell you what I learned, though. I learned that the fans still love and very much appreciate Jon Jones, because at the press conference yesterday, I mean, he was like a superstar in there, and rightly so.
Yeah, and I did, we discussed it yesterday, but just to touch on it, the emotions, the overriding emotions, where he jumped off the stage, he ran out to see the crowd, he mixed with the fans. He doesn't know, he didn't know until yesterday what the response was going to be like, but he is still very much adored. He's still very much, pretty much everyone's favourite fighter.
Every fight fan that we were speaking to yesterday, though, kept referring, obviously, GOAT. They kept talking about greatest of all time, and obviously they referred back to his time at light heavyweight when he burst onto the scene as a young man, became the legend slayer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Does that guy still exist?
Well, and that's the big question, isn't it? Because, believe it or not, when you calm down a little bit, when you tame the beast, are you still going to be the same? Because a lot of fighters, they need that, and that's kind of what makes them so special inside the octagon. Now, I think when you look at Jon Jones, I think he's still got it. I think, to be honest, he's trying his best to pull the wool over everybody's eyes. I remember a journalist said to him, "Are you a good guy trying to a bad guy trying to be good, or a bad guy trying to be
good guy?"
Just get it out. When you get the point I'm making.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's a bad guy trying to be good. And
Correct.
even when we spoke to him yesterday, you can see it simmering behind his eyes. He's still the same guy. He's been away for 3 years. He's missed the fans. He's missed the adoration. He's missed the paychecks. And he's missed the attention. And he's coming back with a bang. And he's going to take it all out on Ciryl Gane's face.
Sorry for laughing at that particular point. But
what he's going to do.
There's a reinvigoration about just being around him. I mean, we've been around the last 3 fight weeks. I know they were a bit of time ago at light heavyweight, but he was a little bit more subdued there.
And I think it's because his time at light heavyweight was done. You know, he'd ran out of real challenges. This is why he's gone to heavyweight now. We're seeing the stats there on the board a second ago. He was always a heavyweight frame in a light heavyweight body. It was always about putting that muscle mass on. And I think if John put his hand on his heart, he'd probably gone, you know what, I should have gone to heavyweight a little bit earlier. Once the Gustafsson DC rivalries were done, my time at light heavyweight was done. I defined my era then, and he probably should have gone away and come back as a heavyweight then. But you know what, the time away's done him good. Mentally, he seems refreshed. He seems like he's in a good place. He seems like he's got his focus. Listen, I know, I've been around John Jones enough to know that he says all the right things at all the right times, and then, off camera, he'll do something completely different.
He's a PR dream.
He is.
He's a HR dream. He really is. You know what I mean? He knows what to say. He says the right things. He's a very smart man. But he doesn't necessarily mean what he says.
Yeah.
From Ciryl Gane's point of view, this is as big as it gets. Absolutely as big as it gets. He has been here challenging for the heavyweight championship before, but to be doing that against what many would class as the greatest of all time, it's kind of a 2-for-1 hit for him, isn't it?
Well, it's unbelievable, first of all, what Ciryl Gane has accomplished in such a short space of time. When 13-0 as a Thai boxer, turned to mixed martial arts, he's now 11-1. Look at what he has done in 12 fights. I said it yesterday. John Jones has had more title fights than what he's had MMA fights, period. But in those 12 fights, he's become an interim champ. He's fought for the undisputed heavyweight title against Francis, and now he's fighting against John Jones. Headlined the first ever card in Paris. That was absolutely ridiculous. We were all there. What a celebration of mixed martial arts that was in France, and the people love him there. So what he's achieved is unbelievable. What was the question?
I'm just saying that he doesn't seem daunted by the moment. A lot of people do. When people stand across from Jones, that you do feel like it's getting too much for him. It doesn't feel like that with Ciryl.
I asked him that, and he said, I said, what about the occasion? Does this feel big? Because it is big. It's massive. And he said it felt bigger against Francis Ngannou, funnily enough.
I think I agree with him there, but he hasn't stepped in the cage with John Jones yet. I think the France and Gane, there was a lot of rivalry going on there. Francis from that camp as well. Yeah. French national pride at stake because Francis lived over there. There was a lot of that kind of energy around the fight as well.
Personal beef.
Yes. And I think the separation here will help him. But I think when he's in that octagon tomorrow night, when he's standing there, when John Jones's music comes on, when the T-Mobile goes absolutely bananas, and we know it will now after what we saw yesterday, I think Ciryl then is going to realise, okay, I've levelled up again here, and I've got to level up my game. And it's about Ciryl Gane being focused in that moment, because I tell you now, if he makes one tiny mistake in them opening 10 seconds, he'll be on the canvas, he'll on his back, and he'll be defending elbows.
He will. But listen, let's be honest, when you look at Ciryl Gane and what he's accomplished, he's not intimidated by anybody.
No.
He's not going to look at someone physically. But the reality is, John has reminded him on several occasions. He said it at the press conference yesterday, pretty much eradicated him as a threat, just based purely on his accomplishments and his style. He even said he's the most incomplete heavyweight in the top five in the UFC. I mean, that's quite insulting. He worded it very eloquently and made it seem like he was being analytical, but he's being very insulting. The reality is, he does have a glaring weakness when it comes to wrestling. So whilst he looks at the man, looks at the frame, probably looks at his midsection and says, oh, this guy's soft, you can look at his performances and see the wrestling, and that threat is very, very real.
We're going to talk about the technicalities of this fight throughout the course of the show with you here from Las Vegas. We'll talk about where this could be won, where this could be lost, as we pick the brains of some of the people connected to those camps throughout the course of the weigh-in morning that we've got here in Las Vegas. Let's talk about the co-main event, because we've got another title fight on the line as well. Valentina Shevchenko. Me and you have spoke about this on a couple of occasions this week, because we've been in her presence, and there's a steel behind this woman's eyes, ready to go to business on Alexa Grasso tomorrow evening here in Las Vegas.
She's the epitome of a true professional mixed martial artist. She's an absolute killer in the octagon. She's so well skilled, well versed, mentally and physically. Nothing phases this woman, and she's so well rounded. And against Alexa Grasso, I want to choose my words carefully, but the danger for Shevchenko, because look at that, look how dangerous she is.
Yeah.
I think the only danger for her losing this fight is if she becomes what John Jones was in his last 3 fights at light heavyweight.
Correct.
Starts to get complacent, starts to overlook her opponents. I don't think she'll do that, because Alexa Grasso, we've seen she's on a 4-fight win streak, taking out some great contenders along the way, and I don't think Valentina is that arrogant or that just arrogance, basically. I don't think she has that.
No, she won't be overlooking her at all. And think at this point in time, this is her 8th world title defence, and that final ruby to become the first, as daft as that is, she becomes the first UFC champion to add that 8th ruby to the belt and complete the set.
Belts, yeah.
And I think it's these little things that she's probably looking at to get motivated by now, and to realise these are legacy defining moments. Listen, Alexa's there up on stage yesterday, she looked unfazed because she's got everything to gain and pretty much nothing to lose. A lot of people in Las Vegas, certainly the bookmakers, are very much writing her off, but Valentina Shevchenko, she is the complete fighter, but this is mixed martial arts, and anything can happen in mixed martial arts.
But exactly, and it's a powerful motivator. If you're so mentally strong that you can block out the noise, you can use that as such motivation, because you're going to go in there, you think, the whole world is writing me off. No one's giving me a chance. The bookies, the fans, the pundits, the BT Sport crew, everybody's writing me off. Well, I'm going to show the world. I'm going to prove them wrong, because at the end of the day, like I said yesterday, this is just two human beings.
Of course.
And they're both very fit, very capable, and very talented. So anything can happen.
Absolutely. It is a complete win-win for Alexa, isn't it? Because, we've highlighted this week that she hasn't fought anybody currently ranked in the top 5 of this particular division, and this is the biggest step up of her career. But at the end of the day, with all this noise, us talking about it, fans out there expecting one particular outcome, there's no pressure on her, really, is there?
No. And there'll be a lot of Mexican fans in there tomorrow night as well, cheering her on. And she'll know, she's seen, what Brandon Moreno take the belt back to Mexico, things like that. She'll know how it can change her life. Beating Valentina Shevchenko, her life changes forever. She's got 25 minutes to do it, and there's no pressure on the shoulders.
And for Shevchenko, there is a lot of pressure, obviously, but also, as we said, just to go back to that final ruby, not because of the ruby, but because what they signify, right? The significance of those rubies. World title fights, there's 8 in a row now, okay? You're fighting the best people on the planet. Every time you do that, there's a possibility for something to go wrong. Mixed martial arts is not boxing. So many ways to win and lose. You zig when you should have zagged, you bob when you should have weaved, you sprawled when you should have kicked. You know what I mean? There's a million outcomes. Something can go wrong. And even just by numbers, Alexa Grasso has a good chance because of the odds.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we've got about just under 5 minutes before the guys and girls hit these scales here at the Apex this morning here in Las Vegas. Shall we let him talk about Shavkat for a minute?
Oh, come on then. Look at the smile on his face. Straight away he's like, come on, baby.
I've been working on my
Kazakh. The Kazakh visa application gone in yet?
Absolutely.
We've put a request in for various fighters. Obviously, when they weigh in, they go through a period of rehydration, and then hopefully they'll be coming to join us on the show. First person.
Shavkat.
We were having our production meeting yesterday night. Who do we want on the programme? First one there. So are you going to be okay if
I can't
Mr. Rakhmonov comes on?
When he arrives, put your mics down. Yeah. Let me take control. Let me fly that ship.
Have you met him? Have you spoke?
We have spoken, but obviously, my Kazakh's awful. And his Scouse is even worse.
Yeah.
So we've struggled, but yeah, listen, the guy's a very special individual. I've followed his entire career. I've watched all of his fights now, even back when he was a middleweight, and outside of the UFC. And I've seen him in trouble. I've seen him pick himself up off the floor. I've seen him fighting off submissions. These are things we've not seen in the UFC because he's been so utterly dominant.
Yeah.
We may well get to see stuff like that tomorrow night because Jeff Neal is a legit all-round welterweight. A real good test for him. He's ranked number 7. Shavkat's ranked number 10. Climbing that ladder is difficult. He will be asked questions, but I truly believe that Shavkat Rakhmonov has the tools to beat anybody at 170 pounds.
There's been a few impressive characters this week. One in particular, from my point of view, just observing him from the outside, has been Bo Nickel. I know this is a big night for him, UFC debut, but he's not talking like it's a UFC debut. He's talking like the energy that he's giving off, he feels like he's been here forever.
Well, because, he has been wrestling forever at the highest level, and wrestling out here, amateur wrestling in the United States, is a massive deal. It's a huge sport. And some of the times where he's wrestled, regularly, at places like Madison Square Garden, 15,000 people there. Yeah. So this is... For most people, it's extremely daunting. Walking out there, a one-on-one environment, going up against another man with so many people watching. He's done this before. He came to the UFC for, potential UFC talent, blew through them,
Yeah.
you know, made it look easy. And when you speak to him, he's very smart, okay? And he's very confident, but he's not arrogant. And when you speak to him, it's just, he knows what he's capable of. He's not being arrogant whatsoever. He knows the history of what he's been able to do when he competes physically against other human beings. And history has shown that he is leaps and bounds above everybody else when it comes to that. He's got the jiu-jitsu now, he's working on the striking, the mental fortitude is there, the wrestling acumen, the mind, the psychology, the confidence, it's all there. But he's still working his backside off and coming in very, very confident, but still humble with it at the same time.
Just goes to show as well where the UFC are kind of pitching him. This is a debut. He's just starting out, and there's ranked people in his division on the prelims.
Yeah.
We've spoken obviously to Dricus and to Derek throughout the course of the week, and there is a little bit of gripe from them, but the point is on Bo Nickel, it just goes to show where the UFC are kind of placing him and where they think he may go in the future.
Of course, listen, this is a business built around finding superstars, finding diamonds that can headline pay-per-view events, and Bo Nickel is absolutely in that category. He's got to do it though. He's only had 3 fights inside a cage period. This is his UFC debut, of course, and it's about the right opponent at the right time. But the way Bo Nickel's talking, you know, when you're talking about put me in against Hamza at the Allianz Stadium and all this kind of stuff, 100,000 people.
Allegiant.
Is it Allegiant? Sorry. Allegiant, you know me.
It's okay.
You know me with names. The Allegiant Stadium in front of 100,000 people. That's big talk for a guy who hasn't made his debut yet.
Yeah.
So,
of course,
he's going to move, and he's going to move fast. I think it's a fine balance right now about the right opponents at the right time. I've seen his hands look pretty good, but they do look pretty raw as well.
do you miss these days?
I do. I was just thinking then, he's making his debut on a pay-per-view. I made my debut on a pay-per-view. I opened up the main card and it does take me back. It really does. Of course it does. But doing stuff like this, calling the fights, that still gives me my buzz. So I'm good. I'm good. It's not about me, boys.
Yeah.
Let's get to it, shall we?
Here we
Here's
go.
Alexa Grasso setting the standard early doors. Obviously, the world title fight against Valentina Shevchenko.
She'll have been on weight a long time, wouldn't she, Mike? This opportunity.
124 and a half. And she looks happy.
She does.
She doesn't look sucked in. She didn't stumble down.
She looks really happy. She looks really good. As I say, there's no pressure on him at this moment. There's the champ. All business.
This is good to see. Nice and early. Let's get one of these title fights in the bank.
Well, she's just an uber professional.
Professional, exactly.
In every way.
Yeah.
Look at that, like stone.
Same weight as Grasso. What I love about Shevchenko is, you know, she doesn't just find the base and train there. Every time you see her on social media, she's in Japan, she's in Kazakhstan, she's in Russia, she's travelling everywhere, just like sucking in information. She's always learning. She's you know, a record-breaking UFC champion, and yet she's still like a student of martial arts.
And that's why she's getting better and better. 186 for Marquez. I saw him when we first got here to the Apex about 45 minutes ago. He's been on weight for ages, just waiting to weigh in. He didn't look as cheerful as that when I saw him. He looked like he was dying. He looked like he was hating life, but he's happy now.
Here's Bo Nickel's opponent. It's a big opportunity for him, though. You know, this is
Absolutely.
a fight. You know, bear in mind he's on a pay-per-view too. He's got
And
some frame on him.
I'm going to say he's in some shape. He's been working with Chris Weidman for this camp because he knows, obviously, the wrestling threat. Weidman, not a bad guy to work with.
Yeah.
Amanda Ribas.
Hibas, baby. Hibas.
Let's pronounce it correctly, of course. She's taking on Vivian Araujo.
Araujo.
It's interesting to see where she's at the moment, because there was a lot of hype when she was coming through, and obviously she just fell off a touch against Marina Rodriguez in various fights. She's a lovable character, bags of personality. It's important that she gets back on the horse tomorrow night.
Yeah, and she's very young. You know, she's had a lot of success early. She stepped up a little bit, and you know, she struggled a touch. But she's got so much potential, and so does this lady here, Tabitha Ricci, the baby shark.
Yes.
Very, very good grappling.
I observed her interview this week with our colleagues from Brazil, And they started it by singing the Baby Shark theme tune.
Oh, amazing. Which comes out of that. That's amazing.
Makes me want to smash up whatever stereo's playing.
His sole defeat, by the way, was up at flyweight. She took a late notice against Manon Fiorot. She lost that fight. Back down at strawweight, though, she's undefeated.
Dricus du Plessis.
Always looks good on the scales, this boy.
Reminds me of myself there.
Yeah.
Similar shape.
He's just a top guy. When you talk to this man, I like him a lot.
Yeah.
Championship weight as well. And that's exactly what he said. He shouted out championship weight there just as he hit the scales. Dricus du Plessis with a wonderful opportunity to take on former challenger in Derek Brunson.
Here's his teammate, his little protege.
Big smile. Look at that grin. Very happy to be here.
Yeah. Talented kid. Really talented. Undefeated. 7-0. 6 finishes.
Taking on Cody Garbrandt. Don't know why I did it in that accent. I apologise.
What did you do, Cody Garbrandt?
Yeah.
It's all right, man. We're in USA, baby.
That's it. Just went with some drawl there. Got the call 5 weeks ago, didn't he?
Yeah, making championship weight, and only took the fight just a little over a month's notice, so plenty of time, of course, but great opportunity for him taking on the former champion. Ian Gary's opponent.
Yes. We haven't seen him for a long time, Song Kenan. I think it's about 2 years, isn't it? Since he's been in the UFC.
And it wasn't a good performance.
Nope.
Sadly, lost in the first round.
Yeah, and that loss against Max Griffin was literally just a straightforward 1-2 as well. I fear for him if he's getting knocked out with those kind of shots against someone like Ian Gary.
Because Gary's so sharp.
Yes, absolutely.
Loic Rashabov, who's kicking off the early prelims.
Yeah. Experienced guy. 21, 22 fights. Never been stopped, though. Tough. Killcliff. Great gym.
Barrio's a good grappler. Had some ups and downs along the way. But when he's on, difficult fight for anybody.
185, the official weight for Powerball,
Yeah, he had a disastrous start to his UFC tenure, lost his first 3 fights, but won 3 of his last 5. Again, another one of these Killcliff kind of staples. They must have some mats over there on the East Coast, Mike, that Killcliff gym.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, the backup,
yes.
Sergey.
Who's got a fight booked, by the way, in April. He's taking on Curtis Blaze, but Sergey Pavlovich is here. Just making sure that he gets his wages.
And again,
he's a big old boy.
He's a monster. He's an absolute monster. 259. Probably the biggest out of all the 3 heavyweights we're going to get on.
Listen, what a year he had last year. Oh, what a year.
Unbelievable. Well, he was our breakthrough fighter of the year, wasn't he? He was just incredible.
There he is.
Oh, here we go.
There's greatness personified right there.
Jeez, Nick.
Greatness personified.
Greatness personified.
What a beautiful specimen of a human being he is.
Continue. Apologies for people watching this and having to watch him gush over Shavkat Rakhmonov. What an opportunity for Mateusz as well, off the back of what he said. He made a couple of mistakes against Beneil Dariush. Dariush, one of the very, very best in this division, but Gamrot straight back on the horse, sticking his hand up last minute to get an opportunity here, and he'll be wanting to make a bit of a statement tomorrow night.
Yeah. coming in replacing Dan Hooker at late notice, but he's been active, so it's not really a late notice fight. He was in camp, and he'll real fancy against Jalen Turner. Jalen Turner, as we'll see now, there's an awful lot of real estate there for those takedowns, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. The legs, look at the length of them. And this really is a classic striker versus grappler matchup. Jalen Turner on the feet is just beautiful to watch. The skills, the speed, the variety of techniques, the instincts, the reflexes, he's top notch. He is like a different version of Anderson Silva. He really is. And Anderson actually inspired him back in the day. He couldn't even afford a punch bag, so he got an old couch from a tip, stood it on end, taped it to a wall, and that was his punch bag. He would watch YouTube videos on Anderson Silva and try and replicate them in the garage.
Incredible.
And that's where we are today. I mean, it's unbelievable. But if he can keep the fight on the feet, he'll destroy Mateusz. But can he stay on the feet?
Yeah, and what's he like mentally, Mike? Obviously, you've known and you've trained with him.
Yeah.
Is he ready for this step up?
He's definitely very, very confident, and he's grown into that. I mean, when he came to the UFC, he lost to Vicente Luque. Stepped up 170, went up against Vicente when Vicente was on a crazy run. Didn't get the job done, but he was stepping up short notice, just trying to get that opportunity in the UFC. Now he's on a 5-fight win streak, 5 stoppages, some bonuses along the way, and he does believe in himself. So mentally, yeah, very much so. He came on my podcast last week, we talked about it. He is uber confident coming into this one. I am concerned for him though, a little bit. You know what I mean? The single
quality.
legs from Mateusz Gamrot every single time. He goes for a single leg, head on the outside. You should have the head on the inside. Head on the inside, Adam. You can't wrap your arm around it. You can't do a guillotine. But head on the outside, it's there. You can do that. So keep an eye out for that one.
Sipping a little guillotine
There we go.
Got them long levers, get them under the neck and get it choked.
Well, those skinny, long, lanky arms, they're better for chokes.
Of course.
You know, the bone, the blade of the bone really drives in. That's what we call it, the blade.
I like it. Listen, if you've just joined us, where have you been? We could tell you that the heavyweights typically haven't joined us as of yet. They can enjoy a couple of breakfasts before they hit the scales. Still waiting for John Jones, still waiting for Ciryl Gane to come and join us. But the first two out on those scales were the flyweights in the championship fight between Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso, making that statement nice and early and making the weight. So we've got one championship fight in the book. His best mate Shavkat Rakhmanov's been through as well, and a couple of other runners and riders too have also hit the scales. Just before we continue, all the conversation seems to be about wrestling. The heavyweight fight, championship fight. Everybody seems to be talking about the deficiencies maybe in Cyryl's wrestling game and how good John is at wrestling. When you actually watch it from a striking point of view, John likes those leg kicks, doesn't he?
Yep.
He sets a lot of things up off leg kicks. But if you watch Cyryl's game, he counters really well off leg kicks when people have attacked him in the past. Do you think that could be a real key factor if this fight is to play out on the feet?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for him, attacking, they always say chop down a wrestler's legs, right? But that's a dangerous thing to do, because when you kick to the leg, they can catch the leg, drive through and put you down. But if you can connect frequently with the legs, you can slow down, you can hurt the legs, damage the legs, and then they don't have the ability to drive quite as well. But I think for Ciryl Gane, one of the key things is going to be fighting in the pocket, because at length he's better. He is, and he's way more powerful. And Jones is going to be aware of that. Jones is going to try and box his way into a clinch or shoot a double leg takedown. So that's why I say in the pocket. When Jones comes in here, little uppercuts, not the long shots. The long shots he can do all day long, but in camp he should be focused on lots of little shots here and then pushing and breaking away straight away, because Jones is going to try and close the distance.
Yeah.
That's why you're going to make him pay. You're going to punish him every time he comes in range. Can he do it though? Can Jones get him down? That's the big question.
Yeah. Having spoken to John yesterday, it feels like he's going to want to make a statement.
Yeah.
In the past, we've seen him, we'll do a bit of what you do for a bit, I'll show you that I can live with you.
Yeah.
I don't get that vibe off him this week. I get the vibe that he just wants to go out there and make a statement and just remind everybody of what he perceives as greatness.
Yeah, listen, Jonah's golden reign, of course, that's what he used to do. He'd out-wrestle the wrestlers, he'd outstrike the strikers, he'd submit the jiu-jitsu guys, and that was kind of his forte, beating people at their own game, breaking their own heart. This is different though. He's been 3 years out. This is his first move to heavyweight. I think the fear of getting caught and getting knocked out by Ciryl Gane is very real, and I think John Jones is just going to do exactly. He usually says he'll do one thing and does something else and surprises all. But I think Mike's right. I think he's going to look for that double leg as soon as possible, take Ciryl Gane into his world, because he is a wrestler, John Jones, at his base. And I think that's what he's been doing all camp. But all the indicators are there. He's been thrown around other big boys. He's going to get hold of Ciryl Gane, and he's going to make it as messy as possible.
He was never a celebrated or decorated NCAA wrestler, though.
No.
But he's had a habit. He was a very good wrestler, but he had a habit, though, of beating some of the best wrestlers. Ryan Bader, Daniel Cormier. The list goes on, but I can't think of him right now. But he's that's how talented he is.
Yes.
Going back to the fear of things, the last 3 fights, they're notorious. People said they weren't his best performances. He struggled to beat them and all the rest of it. But look at what he did throughout his career. And he was beating people like Alexander Gustafsson. That first fight, apparently he didn't even train for that.
Incredible.
And the reality is, we know John's personal struggles along the way. When you're that dominant, when you're beating everyone, when you can't be beaten, right? That is where the talent starts to become an issue. That is where you start to become your own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Because you start wrongly to believe, I can just roll out of bed and still beat these guys. So those last 3 fights, I'm not disrespecting them as opponents, but I think maybe that had something to do with it. And he said, I don't have the fear. At heavyweight, he's going to have that. And it's not just about it coming back at heavyweight. It's about coming back and reminding the world of his greatness. He ain't going to do that. He ain't going to come in half-cocked. Yeah. You know, look at all this. Look at all the pomp and circumstance around him coming back. Yeah. The hype is unbelievable. So he's not going to come in half-cocked after all this. So that's going to make him dangerous.
Yeah. Preparation is the key. And he's obviously been away for 3 years doing that, hasn't he? For those that are tuning in, don't forget, this all goes down on BT Sport 1 at the weekend. Make sure you come and join us. There's your main card. Kicking off with Bo Nickel taking on Jamie Pickett. We've got some fantastic fights, obviously, leading up to the 2 title fights, in Valentina Shevchenko taking on Alexa Grasso, who've already been through on the scales for that women's flyweight title bout. And then, of course, we're just waiting for the heavyweights. John Jones and Ciryl Gane will be the cherry on top of the cake. Your times are there. The prelims get going from 1 a.m. with the main card from 3 on BT Sport 1. Make sure you come and join us. I'm looking forward as well on the prelims for Ian Garry. Just obviously he's took a little bit of time off, starting a family, and again, speaking to him this week, that interview is available on the YouTube channel. There is a steel in his eyes as well, and it feels like, speaking to him, having that time off and precious time with his family, that he's now playing catch up. He's already talking about the activity levels this year. He wants to be out 3-4 times, which is going to be key if he wants to make a run and get himself highly ranked in this division.
Yeah, absolutely, because the more you fight, the more people know who you are, and the more hype you start to get, so therefore you get higher profile fights. But along the way, you have to win those fights. I saw your interview with him, and it was really interesting what he was saying, you know, about how violent he is and how badly he wants to beat these people, and kind of fantasizes over that. And a lot of people do kind of feel like that, a lot of fighters, but Gary's just very honest and by saying that, you know, because by going out there and destroying your opponents and creating all this violence and making a mess of their face, you know, that only amplifies how good you were and how dominant your performance was. So he's a nasty guy. Son Kenan, he does have a habit of getting hit. I think Ian Gary's going to go out there and put on a sensational performance, but this man is here for a reason. You can't discount him completely. But Ian Gary has been away, as you say, he had a child, but I'm sure he's been training the whole time as well.
From a Son Kenan point of view, we mentioned it because he's already hit the scales. Last time we saw him, he was flat on his back, and it was relatively quick.
Yes.
2 minutes, I think.
Yeah. Is that... I mean, obviously, you look at... we were talking about in the John Jones and Ciryl Gane fight, what have you done for me lately? Obviously, he's not been here for a period of time. You would think that he's been away in a dark place, working on the deficiencies of his game, and hopefully we're going to get a better version of Son Kenan that comes into this fight tomorrow with Ian.
Yeah, listen, again, we talked about it earlier in the show. This is MMA. Anything can happen. And yes, it was a fundamental flaw, a fundamental mistake. He dropped his hands at the wrong time. Max Griffin threw a straight 1-2 over the top, and he's licking the canvas. But it can happen. On his debut, he scored a win like that. I think it was a 15-second win on his UFC debut, knockout. It was actually Mike's undercard of Mike's last fight. So he's been the hammer, and he's now been the nail. And I think it will have grounded him a little bit. He will realise that Ian Garry does a lot of media, sells himself. There's a big spotlight there. But as Mike said, Son Kenan's here for a reason. And he's not a little welterweight. The guy's massive. You can see how big he was there on the scales. Throw under the 20 pound on him tomorrow. I think he will be physically a lot bigger than Ian Garry once that cage door closes. Whether that helps him or not, I don't know. But don't be surprised if he engages with a bit of a clinch early on, because he knows Gary's hands are fast.
How far do you think Ian can go?
I mean, listen, so far so good, right? I mean, what's his record? Is he undefeated?
Yeah.
He's undefeated, yeah. There's nothing to think why he couldn't go all the way. How good is his wrestling, though? Because right now he's fighting, fringe ranked guys, you know what I mean? He's yet to really permeate those kind of barriers.
Yeah.
But... once you get into the top 10, there's a lot of wrestlers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what we're yet to see. I'm sure he can wrestle. He's at Killcliff MMA.
Yeah.
A fantastic team with just a wealth of talent.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's there. But like a lot of European fighters, that will be the weakness.
Yeah.
That will be the kryptonite. And you've got Kamaru Usman. You've got Bilal Muhammad. You've got Khamzat Chimaev if he's fighting at 170. So the danger from the wrestlers is there at 170, like it is in every weight class. So right now, he's going through the strikers. He's smashing them up and he's looking fantastic.
Yeah.
Last time out, I think it was Gabe Green, right? Last
Yeah,
fight.
that's right.
Gabe Green's a tough guy.
Very.
And he made it look easy.
did.
He looked so beautiful, so sharp and crisp and on balance.
Yeah.
It was a great performance. He's 10 out of 10 right now.
Yeah, and
Can't get any better, but he's yet to have those really
question.
tough stylistic matchups.
Answer that question. And the issue he's got at Killcliff, it's a great benefit being there. There's some absolute monsters on the mats, but there's also a couple of welterweights, elite welterweights at that same gym. Now he's rolling with them day out, day out. But at some stage, there's going to be a bit of a jam at the top where what you do, you leave the gym and fight one of your teammates, or you sit back and let your teammate be the champion. And that's always going to be an issue when you're in a busy gym like that, And as fantastic as it is, the group of people on those mats, at some point, if you want to realise your dreams, you're going to have to start fighting each other. What is on the
Look
card?
at Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
John Jones with Shad Evans. But
Yep.
It happens when gyms get busy. This is what happens. What I can see for Ian Gary this year is UFC Dublin. That's what he should be screaming for. Take the UFC back to Dublin, get in a fight night main event, because I think he's ready for it.
For such a young man, he seems to have his head screwed on. There's a lot of maturity there as well. You've just been speaking about his gym and moving up in sticks, coming over to America at such a young age to obviously have that development in his game. But he's also, in that conversation that I had with him this week, talking about after this camp, he's been invited by Charles Oliveira to come to Brazil and spend some time there on those mats. So that'll be a good thing. He's also been speaking to Israel Adesanya about going to New Zealand and spending some time at City
Why not?
Kickboxing.
Really smart.
So this is a kid that wants to go around the world, try all different martial arts and learn.
And that is what you have to do.
Correct.
That is what you have to do. Listen, loyalty is a great thing, but you've got to be loyal to yourself first and foremost. And sometimes I don't know who his coaches were back home or anything like that. And I'm not
Chris
talking
Fields
about
and stuff, yeah.
I'm not talking about any examples at all. I'm not talking about any fighters or any situations that have happened. But by travelling around the world, by training with different people, being in different practice rooms, seeing how people do it, the top people, champions like Adesanya, you learn so much. And all coaches have, a certain amount to give. And if you stay with them forever, and don't get me wrong, you can keep with them forever.
Yeah.
But it's good to go and sample other gyms. Do a training camp over there and have an assistant coach come in here and there and pick and choose some new styles, some new techniques, some new methodologies of training. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people do it very different ways. You can go down to Charles Oliveira, see what he does so special. Go over to Izzy, take some of his stuff, his ground game, his takedown defense. There's a lot of stuff to learn in mixed martial arts.
For those that are just tuning in, we're at the Apex here in Las Vegas for weighing down for UFC 285. We're still waiting for the big boys. We're still waiting for John Jones and Ciryl Gane.
He's in the curtain jerker, undefeated Argentinian, 11-0 with 11 finishes. Not a bad record.
That's fantastic. That's exactly what you want.
Yeah.
I love that phrase, by the way. The
Curtain jerker.
Yeah.
I think
Quality kid.
It sounds better in your accent though when you say it.
Curtain jerker.
Yeah.
It's curtain jerker.
Yeah.
But we've seen him on Dana White's Contender Series. Obviously, he's got his shot because he was 10-0 in Argentina with 10 finishes. He comes onto Dana White's Contender Series. Big right hook, left hand on the ground, finished KO round 1. I'll go in the UFC, please. That's how you do it.
Well, of course, because 11-0, 11 finishes, that's going to do it. Then you combine it with the fact they want Argentinian talent. It's Santiago Ponzinibbio, maybe one other, I think. So that's representing an entire country, and it's a big country as well.
Yep.
So, of course, that's in his favour. So he's going to have tremendous support this weekend.
Just on the main event, obviously John Jones, Ciryl Gane. On John, what type of weight are you kind of expecting when he hits the scales? Hopefully in a few moments from now.
Well, I'm just wondering what his psychology will be, because he might literally have a massive breakfast, drink a lot. Because when you get out of bed and get on the scale and weigh yourself, and then you weigh yourself before you go to bed, They're two different weights,
Yeah.
and it can fluctuate massively. So he could add 7-8 pounds this morning by hydrating and eating a lot. It's mainly the fluids.
Yeah.
But here's Cody Garbrandt. He's just such a nice guy.
Yeah.
And I love the way he fights. Obviously, we all know.
He's such an attractive style, mate.
Yeah.
Love it. I love watching him fight.
Me too.
And it's going to be interesting because hopefully he's going to come and join us on the show, Cody, once he's had his drink and what have you, because he's been fluctuating. He seems to have been trapped between weights, what he should be doing, but it's nice to see him back, in my opinion, at this weight where he was champion, and hopefully he can make a little bit of a run.
Yeah, he's moved over to Las Vegas now as well. Cody Garbrandt, he's left Team Alpha Male. I kind of left reluctantly as well, but he feels like he's comfortable here in Las Vegas now. He's got a new team built around him. Hopefully he can make another run.
Blonde Brunson. Similar to John Jones, similarly to John Jones, he knows what he has to do in this fight. He's going to go out there and wrestle. Spoke to him the other day. Said, yeah, listen, Dricus is a tough guy. You know, he's a brawler. He's tough. He's a real man. You know, he's a real fighter. He's a real warrior. But I've got the wrestling accolades, and I'm going to use them because this is mixed martial arts. So that fight is kind of similar in some ways to Ciryl Gane and John Jones.
It's funny, Brunson, he's been around for an awful long time. He was in Strikeforce and everything. He's been around forever, and yet he's remained as a perennial contender. He just hasn't had that final victory to get him over the line and get him a title shot. But on media day a couple of days ago, it was funny what he said on stage. He said, I've just got to keep winning. And he said, when I win the title, it'll be like Michael Bisping. The shot will come and I'm going to take it. And that's what he said. He said, I've just got to keep winning. He realises maybe my face doesn't fit, but at some point I'm going to get an opportunity and I'm going to be ready for it.
Well, it's funny you say that because I asked him that the other day, and I was very hesitant. You know, the way you word questions like this, you got to be careful. But I'm like, you know, how much does it annoy you or motivate you that, you know, you're considered as a good fighter but never great? A good fighter, we can put him on main cards, maybe a main event here and there, and he can beat the majority of the talent, but he'll never be elite. You know, I said, because that's what they used to say about me. You know, and that's kind of the chatter surrounding you. You know, but it can be very insulting. But he's a smart man, and apparently he said the same thing himself anyway, so he took it well. But yeah, no, he fully understands that, and he knows what he's capable of. The reality is, though, he's 39 now. 39. You know, it's getting close to calling it a daytime.
Yeah, especially if he was to lose a fight like this against du Plessis, who's ranked below him. At 39 years of age, it'd be tough to come back. Because realistically, a win here, just because the way the division is right now, he's still at least another big
treading
performance.
water, this fight, isn't it, really?
It is.
For him, anyway.
For Brunson, it is, yeah, absolutely.
Brunson said that when he sees the fight between du Plessis and Darren Till, Darren had some good transitions in the grappling, got some control time, hit some sweeps and things like that. And he said, I love Darren, I respect Darren so much. He said, but if Darren can have that kind of success in the grappling department, then so can I.
Yeah.
How does Dricus approach this fight, do you think? Because what an opportunity for him. He could be a top 5 by Tuesday morning when the rankings come out. If he's got a victory here, he could be a top 5 in this division.
Yeah, and listen, he's massively confident. Again, you talk about people represent a nation. He's got the whole of South Africa, the whole continent of Africa behind him, because he's still based there. He trains there every day. I know they've had Kamaru and you've had, you know, Gane, who carried the belts for them, and it's Israel Adesanya, but they're not African. They're born, but they're not bred there. He is still there, and he thinks that's very important. So he's got massive support. He's opening the door. Every time he fights, there's always a young South African on the undercard, just like this card as well. He's opening the door. He's bringing fighters through with him, and he realises that he's the pioneer for fight sports, for MMA in that part of the world, and he believes he's got the ability to go all the way. I'm a bit concerned that he gassed out a little bit against Till in the second round. It took him an awful long time to get going again. He can't afford to do that against Brunson. But talent-wise, he's absolutely got it.
And to beat Brunson, go forward. He's going to go forward, put him on his back foot. If you put a wrestler on the back foot, it's a recipe for disaster for them. However, you kind of play into their game plan, but that is the way to do it. Utilise some movement, but just bite down on that mouthpiece. Lower your base, lots of uppercuts, minimise the kicks, and just throw down.
Just go.
Go. And because that's how he fights. You know what I mean? He's not going to come out with some Floyd Mayweather-esque game plan. No, do you know what I mean? But if you can lower the base, go forward, and let the hands go, you know, listen, Brunson gets clipped here and there. He's got a kind of wild, erratic style. When he throws punches, he leaves a lot of openings, you know, so du Plessis can look for those.
Everywhere du Plessis has been, he's been a champion.
Yeah.
He was a champion back home in Africa, and he thought, you know what, I'm better than this, I'm going to move on. He goes over to Poland, joins KSW, becomes champion in KSW, and then obviously comes to the UFC. The guy's got a champion mentality.
And he's also got a fan-friendly fighting style because he wants to knock people out.
Yeah, it's fun.
He's got a fan-friendly, fan-friendly personality as well.
Yes.
What a boy he is. When you talk to him, he's funny, he's personable, he's likeable, and when he steps in the octagon, absolute monster.
Absolutely. If I could just go back to Cody when we were speaking about him a moment ago, Cody Garbrandt, because obviously as fans, we see what happens in the octagon and we judge what happens in the octagon, but there's so much more, so many different layers to a fighter's life. And the last couple of times that we've seen Cody in the octagon, obviously you've just made a point there about changing gyms, changing where he was living, and now he's over here. But a lot of personal things going on in his life as well, which obviously have had some type of effect of him as a fighter. This is a young man that, without any shadow of a doubt, gave us one of the best title fight performances of all time in the UFC. It was sensational. The talent is there. The point I'm trying to make is the importance of up here being right.
Yes.
Because the talent is there for this boy.
Well, up there being right, but the health being right as well.
Yeah.
Because he's had a lot of health problems over the years. Obviously, a fall from grace.
Yeah.
But Dominic Cruz, that fight he had against Dominic,
it was unreal.
That was a true showcase of what he can do against Dominic Cruz. Is one of the greatest bantamweights ever. He outcruised Dominic Cruz. He pimped him. He can wrestle. He can box. He grew up with his older brother fighting in car parks, in the streets. The man's a real fighter. Let's just put it like that. That's what I'm trying to say without bringing up his dodgy past, shall we say. But the man's a brawler. The man's a fighter. And now he's got polished skills. Became the champ. Fell from grace. Got clipped. Got knocked out. Changing camps, feels reinvigorated, took a little bit of time off, adjusted his fighting style because he was one of those guys he would throw down, he would just brawl, and it was one of them. You know, it's a 50-50 in that kind of situation. Yeah. And that style got him to where he was, got him to become champion, but then it made him lose 3 or 4. Is it 4?
Yeah.
On the bounce?
Yeah. And fights that you would look at and think that he should be winning those fights. That's what I'm talking about the importance of it all being right in between your ears. Because we've seen the talent's there. He's absolutely, when he's on, he's absolutely brilliant to watch.
Yeah, listen, he went through that thing that a lot of people do when they lose a couple of fights. He tried a different weight class.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out for him either. He's back up at bantamweight now. He's here in Las Vegas. But, you know, it's a measure of the man that, listen, we know he went through a very, tough divorce. And his wife was from his ex-wife, was from Las Vegas. And she said, I'm taking our son and I'm moving back home to Las Vegas. And he said, I ain't living without my son every day. So that's why he left Team Alpha Male. He's moved to Las Vegas to be around his son. So I respect him for that. You know, he didn't dig his heels in and make her stay away from her family. So you've got to respect the man for having that kind of attitude. But I think the move to Vegas, a brand new team, brand new faces, a brand new drive to the gym every day, all of that stuff is good for the brain.
Damn
because
right,
losing's a habit. And you need to break out of the habit of what you've done previously and lost fights.
It doesn't feel like a grind anymore.
No.
You know what I mean? It's a little bit of fresh. It's a fresh coat of paint.
Shall we?
Never mind that.
Shall we bring a guest in? Let's bring a guest in. Come on. We've just been waxing lyrical about him and singing his praises.
Exactly.
Let's bring in Dricus du Plessis.
Dricus.
Guys, what's up?
How are you,
well
mate?
indeed. Very well indeed. How are you? More importantly,
absolutely amazing. You know, after you had these drinks, I always feel like, that wasn't so bad. I can do that again.
Yeah. How many pounds did you cut last night?
Last night, geez, in pounds, it's hard. In kilos.
Kilos.
Well, in pounds, I can do say around 15.
15 last night.
Yeah, from last night to this morning, 12 to 15.
Yeah, that's a lot, bro.
That's
a lot.
Yeah, we have to make weight.
It sucks. Right? You got to make weight. You got to do it.
But I'm feeling great now. And
nice.
Tomorrow, well, give me a few hours and I'll feel even better.
Take a little nap.
Absolutely.
A little nap, a little bite to eat, a little drink, and a little sleep.
And you know it is like you don't
get
that much sleep in when you're dehydrated like that.
Of course.
But we're here and I'm feeling great. Every time we get a little bit better. You know, you get the supplementation down to a T, you get the diets down to a T, and we get that. You start knowing your body better with the traveling. That's a big thing. That's what I said during the fight week as well. Once you get used to, there's not so much stress in your body because I know exactly where I'm going with the hotels, with the accommodation, with what I'm going to eat. Everything, when you move from your country to another country, in the beginning it can be a little bit rough because you're not sure what am I going to do, where am I going to get the right food. And now we're starting to get 100% used to it.
Well, it's funny that you just mentioned your country because we were just saying that you're representing South Africa massively, maybe solely on your back. Do you feel that support back home?
Oh, absolutely. Like even like before the weight, like even now this. I mean, it's nighttime in South Africa right now. Even from yesterday, like people, I'm just seeing videos. I'm like, guys, you can't party until the fight. It's not fight. It's not fight.
Let
week.
me get the job done first.
Fight week for them is like party week all week. Fight week for me is a completely different story. But they're starting it like they have it build up. They have, it's really cool because like I'm getting these videos and people are super stoked and it makes me so happy. And I feel that when I go out, it's extra charge.
We were talking about your fighting style and how well suited it is to face someone like Brunson, a wrestler. You're a front foot fighter. You like to put him on the back foot, your opponents. You like to, put forward, throw a lot of punches. Is that the tactics heading into Saturday? Really put him on the back foot?
A big thing with this is, like I said, is I want to stay calm as well. Not just go out there and flurry and hope for the best. Because if you have two guys fighting like that, a lot of times that's what you have to do to win a fight. Mm-hmm. In certain fights, when I fought Brad Tavares, that first round I lost because I was too calm, and when it came to that, I was looking to pick him. The game plan didn't work, so I had to go crazy, make sure I win that fight. I feel with Brunson, like he comes in that first round, and we've seen him get like really tired. Yes, I get tired too, but when I get in that third round, I still win the fight. We've seen him get tired where he's at a point where he can't do anything about it anymore, and like he loses fights like that. So it's something I look at, and I'm looking to expose that in the sense that when he comes in full speed, let him go. Let's do the fight like that. Let's have a full pace 100k, 300 mile an hour fight if you want to. But we have to come out in that second and third round, and we'll see if you're still feeling like going at it that way. And that's when he'll start making mistakes, and that's when I'll start capitalizing.
It's not the first time you've been, obviously, in this arena in Vegas. We saw the beaming smile off the back of the victory against Darren in December, and obviously you're well accustomed to fighting in places like Poland where there's big crowds, noisy crowds. Talk to me about the significance for you about being on a card headlined by what many would class as the greatest of all time in John Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I've been absolutely... I can call it luck, I can call it whatever, but I've been absolutely blessed with the cards I've been in. I've been on Poirier and Conor 3. I've been on Adesanya and in the 2 international fight weeks. I've been on the John Jones return card, which are absolutely massive. Obviously, the fight with Yuri Prochazka and that got cancelled, so that whole event got a little bit degrading, but it was still an amazing event to be a part of. Only pay-per-view events, and now I'm fighting on a return of the great John Jones. Couldn't be any better, and I look at it, and even though I look up to it and I see this inspiration, I'm a little bit jealous because I want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that people are happy to be on the undercard of, right?
And that's what you should strive to, and that's what you're working towards. But of course, you've got to get through Derek Brunson to achieve that. When you look at Derek Brunson, obviously the thing that stands out is the wrestling. Yes. Normally, he uses that to beat his opponents. So, what have you done to prepare for that?
Yeah, his wrestling 100% is a key factor for him when he fights, and I don't want to mislook the fact that this guy's fought everybody. He's fought Yoel Ramirez. He's fought the easiest. He has fought the best of the best. He dropped Jared Cannonier, who fought for the bout just the other day in his last outing. He dropped him. He won that first round. Very convincing. Got 2-3 takedowns. Knocked him down to the floor just at the end of the round. So I'm not looking past Derek Brunson in any way, shape or form. This is by far the toughest test of my career. And I'm looking to pass this test with flying colours. And to answer your question on the wrestling, to prove that I'm not going to be trying to get away from his wrestling. I want to embrace the wrestling and show that I can wrestle too. I'm not saying I'm going to go out there and make this a wrestling fight at all. I just want to go out and prove that I'm not afraid of his wrestling. Yeah. And we prepared for that. Those wrestling camps are always the hardest. Getting up every day and knowing we're going to wrestle.
I hate it.
If you're fighting a strike, it's always like,
it's amazing.
This is great for the body.
When you fight a wrestler, it's getting back to your feet, take down defense, getting taken down over and over and over again.
Fighting strikers in the fight, it's a little bit harder because at any time you can bang that guy can just knock you out. But with a wrestler, in the fight you can start making plans and all that kind of stuff. But the fight camp for a wrestler, and we had a fight camp, and I'm feeling so amazing because we had 10 days off after my last fight. I mean, I was in fight camp 2 weeks after that. It was 8 weeks out, so we started camp again. So I carried that, the fitness, the physicality, everything from the last camp for Darren Till in December immediately into this camp. And it's a little bit of a, it's hard because you're like, I wanted to have some time off, but You know, when opportunity strikes at the door,
That's it.
especially here,
Opportunity knocks.
if you're climbing that ladder like I am right now, I actually asked again. We do this a month later because I wanted to get surgery on my nose because I'm struggling to breathe through it, but it has been for years. And they were like, no, we can let you fight later in the year, but you're not going to get this fight.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do because everybody's booked. And I was like, okay, no, I'll get the nose fixed later. Let's go. I don't want to miss opportunities right now. And, you know, win this fight and hopefully have a little bit of break to sort some stuff out. But if not, you know, I'm here to become a champion as quick as possible and get it done.
Make sure the doctor doesn't mess the nose up, because I had mine rebuilt. They took ribs from my nose and rebuilt it because I can't breathe through it. I still can't breathe through it. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
So I paid him a fortune, went through all that pain
go to that guy.
and misery, and I still can't breathe through it, but I'm sniffing up all the time.
Well, I mean, if I'm pretty sure if he doesn't have a hammer on my nose, he's not going to screw it up more than my nose already screwed up. So I'll be good.
Fair enough. Listen, go and rehydrate, my friend. Thank you so
Guys,
much
I
for
appreciate
joining
it so
us.
much.
Cheers, Dricus.
Thank
All
you.
the best, Dricus.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy watching you fight every time, man.
I appreciate that, guys.
Take care.
Cheers.
Take
Take
care.
care.
Dricus du Plessis taking on Derek Brunson at UFC 285. We saw him obviously in December against Darren. He was fantastic that night. He's been fantastic throughout the whole course of his career, and what an opportunity for him. I know that we've kind of already highlighted there's a top 5 ranking on the cusp here, but just listening to him there, that attitude of he needs surgery. He's technically injured a little bit, but he's here because the opportunities have risen and he's jumped at it.
Yeah, you can't turn opportunities down, especially talking about breaking into the top 5. And I think the performance against Till in December, he was the underdog in that fight. Everyone fancied Darren Till. He absolutely mauled Darren Till in the first round. And to be honest, he kind of spent himself because he was trying to finish Darren up against the fence. If you remember, he was throwing hundreds of
lot
punches.
of shots.
And a lot of referees would have stopped that fight. And Darren was kind of letting the referee know he was fine. But I think Dricus gambled, and it nearly backfired on him in the second round because Till came back into it in the second. But as he said, once he got his wind back again, once he got the air back in his sails in the third round, he goes and dominates the fight and gets a massive finish. But I think he will have learned from that experience, and he'll be looking to put that experience in action against Brunson tomorrow night.
And another relevant point is the quick turnaround.
Yeah.
I mean, he only just fought. You know,
right.
when
Yeah.
Magomed Ankalaev and Glover Teixeira fought, that feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Correct.
It was December. We're in the first week of March. 2 weeks off and then straight into a training camp. I mean, that shows the kind of determination and the hunger that he has to achieve greatness in this sport, and it also reflects the kind of physical shape that he'll be in. I mean, when you look at him there's not an ounce of fat on him.
No.
You were talking about, and he did gas a little bit in that fight. I'm assuming the cardio will be way better, keep the momentum rolling. There's a familiarity with the crowds, with the octagon. I mean, he fought in this arena just in December. Christmas feels like yesterday. It's only around the corner ago.
Same
so,
dressing room, same routine.
Just another day at the office.
Correct.
You just saw British best fighter there, Farid Basharat, hit the scales. He's come through good. Whilst we were talking to Dricus, Jessica Penn she went in at 116, and then you also had Bo Nickel coming in at 185.5. Basharat's just weighed in at 136. So still to come, we have got John Jones, Ciryl Gane. Why do heavyweights do this to us all the time, right? Come on, lads. Get out of here and give us a party. Give us something to get stuck into. We're still waiting for Jeff Neal as well. They're from the main card. On the prelims, Araujo still to come, and then the early prelims we've got Ian Gary. He's probably doing changing nappies or something, isn't he? It's Ian Gary, that's what he's doing. Martinez and Blackshear still to come through. So we've got 7 fighters still to go for the weigh-ins this morning. I'm led to believe that Jalen Turner is going to be joining us very
nice.
short. That's nice. You can get stuck in there and have a little bit
Have
of
a little chat.
Just as long as he doesn't bring one of those tarantulas with him, because I will be out of here.
He loves them. He's got 10.
That's what I
10
mean.
tarantulas, a lot of insects and snakes. It's just a weirdo, isn't it? No, to any man that has all those insects and snakes. If you got, my son has a tarantula.
That's what I was going to bring up with you, because you've got...
We've got a tarantula
Did you
and a
get it off
lizard.
Jalen? Was it
No,
presents
we
off
didn't,
Jalen?
but the tarantula, you never see him. We don't even know if he's alive. We took a cockroach in there every now and again. I don't know. He's the worst pet ever. But men that have snakes, they're just weirdos. I'm sorry. Anyone watching this right now, if you have a snake... In fact, no, if you're married to a man that has a snake, divorce him. He's a serial killer in the making. He's a weirdo. He's feeding live mice to snakes, sitting there looking at it through his little... fish tank. Going, oh yeah, eat that mice. Yeah, if you're married to him, call it a day right now. But don't mention that when Jalen comes on.
Michael Bisping, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Bisping. But you've got one at your house. That's the whole point of this.
It's a bearded dragon. It's a lizard. It's a lizard. And they're very personable pets. Bearded dragons are cool. You know, they'll run up your arm and sit there. Very personable. Great personalities. But yeah, Silky. He's the tarantula. You know, because they spin silk. You know, it's a smart name.
I feel like I've just rocked up on the Really Wild show with Terry Dunkins here.
Oh my God, that's a throwback. My word. Most of the audience doesn't know that reference.
They've absolutely
The
no
Really
idea.
Wild show.
Sorry, everybody.
Wow. Yeah, anyway.
Things that you don't expect to have a conversation about when you turn up for a weigh-in show in the morning. It's just
Well,
another day.
we got 2 hours to film.
It's another day with Michael Bisping.
Well, he's got 2 hours to film.
Another
Let's
day
be
with
honest.
Michael Bisping.
We need more tangents.
Listen, don't forget, BT Sport 1 is the destination for these fights. With the prelims getting underway from 1 a.m, that main card getting going at 3 a.m. And just a quick reminder, there is that main card. We saw Bo Nickel hit the scales a little earlier on when we were talking to Dricus du Plessis. He's looking to make a big splash in the middleweight division, taking on Jamie Pickett, who's got a big opportunity there against the guy that's being hyped big time. Mateusz Gamrot has already been through. Jalen Turner's been through as well. He's going to be joining us hopefully very, very shortly. Jeff Neal, Shavkat Rakhmonov, and then the 2 title fights where Valentina Shevchenko will be defending against Alexa Grasso, and John Jones and Ciryl Gane will also they'll be providing the cherry on top of the cake of this fantastic event. We haven't seen them yet on the scales. Hopefully we will see them very, very shortly.
Jalen's just rocked up. There he is there.
I can see our next guest getting ready to come and join us on the show. He's just doing a little bit of rehydration.
What he thinks.
But yeah, once again, BT Sport 1, the destination for UFC 285. Make sure you come and join us with the prelims going from 1 and that main card from 3. Here he is.
Yes,
now,
Jalen.
Would you like to repeat what you've just been talking about regarding pets?
Yeah, I said. No, no we had this conversation. We had this on the podcast. Tarantulas are cool, but people that own snakes are weirdos.
Well, I guess I'm a weirdo.
Anyway, moving on. Great fight this weekend. How you feeling? How was the wake up?
Waco was pretty smooth. Yeah.
Hold it a little closer, brother.
Waco was smooth. Got it done.
Nice. Now, how many pounds?
155.5.
Yeah, no. How many did you cut last night or this morning?
Just a pound this morning.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Professional.
Yeah.
There you go. You go. Because people would say, looking at you, 6'3", you know what I mean, that you would cut a ridiculous amount of weight.
No, I started the camp at like 180.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Cut from there.
25.
I dieted from there, and then
Yeah.
the hard cut I was 167.
All right, not
Yeah.
bad.
So I
11
get down
pounds.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the most relaxed man in the whole of last. Look how chilled he is.
He's cool, man.
Yeah, he's
That's
good.
when you know he's done the work.
That's it. You know that the work has been done. Talk to me about the change of opponent, Jalen, because obviously this was originally lined up for you versus Dan, wasn't it? And then obviously Mateusz stuck his hand up last minute in order to come in here. How has that changed your preparations?
Just had to work my takedown defense a little bit more. Just defend the grappling, because that's all he's going to do. That's what he's going to come in and try to use to win. So that's it. Preparations stay fairly the same, and body styles too. He is a little shorter than Dan Hooker, so I had to adjust to that.
Who were you working with the wrestling? Because obviously I know you trained down at the Ruka Sport Warehouse with Ant over there and all the guys down there. But what about the wrestling side of things? Were you able to bring in a couple of guys to replicate that style?
I use my buddy Andrew Saucedo, and then Ozzy is my coach, Ozzy Dubalubglov.
Yep.
So he's just a grappling wizard, so he helps me. He's still young enough to help me and actually move with me, so gave me a lot of confidence. My buddy Carbon came down to Millennia, and we did some sparring, so he helped a lot too.
Gamrot is obviously a different style to Dan Hooker, but he's also ranked higher than Dan Hooker, so it's a big opportunity for you to climb up the rankings. The guy is coming in at late notice. He is coming in on the back of a defeat as well. So you've got to be really confident heading into this, surely.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident, Like, the coaches gave me the okay. Like, I was looking really sharp in camp. Like, I'm ready to go wherever the fight goes. So I'm confident I'll get my hand raised.
Was Gamrot the first guy the UFC offered you?
He's the only one that stepped up. Yeah, I was like, whoever steps up, I'll take. When Connell needed more time, Drew needed more time.
Nobody else stood up, so I'm like, all right.
Well, not surprised. Stop knocking people out, man. Nobody's going to put their hand up straight
I
away.
was going to say, I was looking really sharp and calm. I'm like, Jalen, you always look sharp. You're never not sharp. Remember, this was the guy that helped me train for Anderson Silva, and when I beat Luke Rockhold, he was my main training partner, and that was out of camp, and he was still kicking my ass.
Listen, we'll let you get on and rehydrate and go and enjoy your day. How does the day now play out for you between now and fight? Are you a sleeper? Are you a video gamer? What do you do?
Just eat as much as I can, drink, and relax, man. I just relax, just zone in, get a little shakeout tonight, and then another one in the morning, and I'm ready to go.
And where are you going for dinner tonight, or what kind of food should I say?
We're going to do Persian and Mediterranean food.
Oh, nice.
Hey,
Right.
Hey, that sounds a bit flamboyant, doesn't it?
How about the best stuff
Persian
tomorrow?
and Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Bit of a
All
combo.
right.
Jalen, enjoy the next 24 hours. We're looking forward to see you do your thing tomorrow night, mate. Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Top man.
Appreciate it.
Top man.
All the best, Jalen.
Take that microphone off him and let him get on with the day. Super stuff.
Later, man.
Well done, buddy.
Good luck,
Take
buddy.
care. There you go. Jalen Turner there, the most relaxed man in all of Las Vegas, taking on Mateusz Gamrot. And you're right, the point that you've just made there, Nick, about Mateusz Gamrot having that ranking.
Yeah.
You beat the man, you take the guy's spot in the division, don't you?
Of course. And listen, don't overlook the fact that Mateusz is coming off the back of a defeat. He's just been beat by Beneil. And Beneil, as we know now, is closing in on a title opportunity. So it's a massive opportunity. And losing is a little bit of a habit. And Gamrot is motivated because I've got to get back. I've got to get that win back. I don't want to be sitting on this loss for a long time. And that can be dangerous, especially when you're rushing into a fight with little preparation for a guy that's 6'3" in this weight class. I'd hazard a guess that Gamrot has never ever stepped across the cage from a guy who's 6'3" before.
The reality is, though, the fight with Dan Hooker, I was looking forward to that so much.
Yes.
Because, that has Fight of the Night written all over it. It plays into Jalen's style.
Yeah.
Jalen's younger, he's got less miles on the clock. I would have favoured him in that fight, if I'm honest. Against Gamrot, different style, right? And a way bigger risk. But he knows that. But the reality is, he's ranked number 10, is it? Mm-hmm. Number 10.
10 is against 7, yeah.
5-fight win streak, 5 stoppages. So he wants to fight for gold. He wants to be the champion. And this is what you've got to do. You've got to start fighting these guys. Gamrot just beat Arman Sarukian not too long ago in one of the best technical fights you will ever see.
Yeah.
That was technical brilliance. The output, the pace, everything was just insane.
Yeah.
You know? So he's a little bit of a bigger name than Jalen. He's got to step in there. And in terms of bad matchups, Gamrot's probably one of the worst matchups. But if you can get through him, that sends a message to the rest of the division that says, hey, never mind all you wrestlers at 155. And by the way, here's Makachev. I'm coming for you as well because I'm ready, because I just got through Gamrot and I proved I can defeat that style.
The thing is about my observations of Jalen as well, you've just seen the size of him there. He's a long boy. Mm-hmm. He knows how to use that length, and that's going to be key in this particular fight.
Yeah, well, he's got to protect those legs, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You know, he's got to make sure that Gamrot doesn't get close enough to shoot on him, and he's got to let them big levers go. And that's the thing. It's like having a long sugar cane. He whips them arms, he whips them legs across, and that's what generates the power. You look at him, you think, where does the power come from? It comes from those long levers.
Cody Garbrandt in the building.
Let's do it.
What's going on, Cody?
Over here.
How are you?
What's up, buddy? Good to see you.
Cody. Good to see you, man.
Nearly.
That's why we can't have nice things, right?
Cody, great to see you, man. Great to see that beaming, smiling face
great,
as well.
I'm happy to be here.
Well,
excited.
Good. That's what we like to see. Because well, talk to me about that. Any difficulties overnight as you were cutting back down?
I think the preparation is was great. Dr. Mateo has me dialed in. Last fight was at 125, so a little bit different, approach, and I was able to really, use the camp longer. I didn't have to focus on too much about the weight cut. I finished camp strong all the way up to the fight. This morning I was about an hour and a half of working out, hitting pads, wrestling, so still, developing those skills the day before the fight and getting the last, few pounds off. So it was a great weight cut. Hats off to him. He's a professional. I'm so happy to work with him.
We know, Cody, what you're capable of. We were just talking about it before. That fight against Dominic Cruz, one of the best performances that anyone's ever put on.
I'm actually going to go back and watch it today because
it was though. It really
was.
was. It was just technical brilliance. I mean, the boxing, the footwork, the wrestling, everything was top notch. And then it's a tough sport, right? Where are you mentally in your mind?
Yeah, it's great that you bring it up. I think that's something that I've worked on more than I ever have. Because I think that you're trying to find something different each camp. I need to do more of this, and on a physical side, but we're fighters. I was born
This
to fight.
controls everything.
Everything. What the mind believes and it follows. So working on the middle side is where I really dived into the last year that I moved here, working with Micah at the PI, the UFC therapist. Was in MLB, went through his professional career, and now he's teaching us how to deal with some of these thoughts and anxiety or excitement, and how to focus and be engaged. I think the last 2 fights that I was preparing for, obviously physically ready to go, but mentally just kind of numb, walking down, no excitement. I'd rather be afraid or have these feelings of adrenaline. I was numb going to the fights, and it showed. I wasn't engaged. So he's helped me, have senses of helping be engaged in there. So I'm excited. I use them all camp, and not just outside of my fight career, my life. Really honing on things that were important and not trying to control or hold on to things that really wasn't important at the time, and just being engaged in the present.
You were talking earlier about your move to Las Vegas and building this new team around you. I get a feeling like we've pushed the reset button on Cody Garbrandt, and the Cody Garbrandt that we saw as the one-time king of the bantamweight division. Are we going to see him? Is he coming back? Is that what it feels like? Everything feels new. You're like a new contender again.
Yeah, I feel great about that. Having the new coaches, new teammates. Obviously I moved here. I love Team Alpha. I miss those guys so much. They were so much of my success, so much of my early growth as a young man. I came out there at 22 years old, and was 1-0 as a pro and became a world champion 11-0 later with them. And forever grateful for them. Those are my brothers. And,
became family.
They're family. They became family. And I'm still very close with those guys. Talk to them a lot. But obviously family comes first. My son's out here. He's flourishing. He's healthy. He's happy. So super blessed with that. But yeah, I feel just excited to get in there. I haven't had these feelings in quite some time.
Yeah.
I went through so many coaches, since 2016. I had momentum and I had structure and routine. My life was, I had control of it. I had structure. That's probably the key word, structure. And I had consistency. And I feel like the last year that I had been out here, I had 3 fight camps that didn't prosper. But I went through those, and they were 2 weeks out from the fights. I had to pull out, opponent or myself, so I've been through the grind and got my coaches and with Dewey Cooper, Chase Pammy, all my teammates here, Javid, Farad's fighting. We train O'Day. It's been just phenomenal. Twilight Timmy, the kid's probably going to be in the UFC real soon. Just a stable of great, like-minded people that are showing up, giving me their all, and it's been great. I built a team around me. Things that I needed to do, and also the mental aspect of it.
You say you were going through the grind. I mean, you've been going through the grind your entire life.
Right.
The physical, as you said, the physical side's there, without question. I mean, I remember you telling me stories about you and your brother when you were young. You were always getting into scraps and things like that. So you're a lifelong fighter, and you've got the skills to back that up. And now, finally, you feel that the mind, the mental side, is all kind of catching up to the physical.
Definitely, I think that goes hand in hand. Obviously, I'm always confident going to a fight, and the physical stress that you put in camp and, putting yourself in those dark places. But, the mind puts yourself in dark places. You have so many thoughts that go through your mind, and they be good and be bad. It's to deal with them, why they're there, why they're showing up. Don't hold on to them and move forward. So not being stuck on them and moving forward on the good stuff. Because, the mind is so powerful and we have so many thoughts throughout our day, and why are these things here? Like going into a fight or walking out and 20,000 people are going crazy to watch you fight and you have no feelings about it, So just focus on being engaged and the game plan and just what I have to do inside there to get this win. So just regain that composure and that confidence of going in there knowing I did every single thing from top to bottom to get this win tomorrow.
What have you made of the development of the division at bantamweight over the last few years?
Look, I wasn't too long ago. I was the top of the division. It's not changed. It's really not. You have Aljamain Sterling as the champion. A lot of the guys that I defeated, Dominic Cruz is still in the top 10. He's still there. It's not too much. The sport has evolved.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, it's still right there. It's momentum. Not looking past this fight, but get this fight going. And I know I'll get on a roll, and I'm excited just to perform. That's it.
So Trevin Jones then, Saturday night, tomorrow night.
Yes.
How does this go down, my friend?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I feel anywhere I want to fight, I think I can take him out.
You think you've got him beat everywhere?
Everywhere. This is the most complete martial artist I've been to date, on a physicality standpoint, but a mental side. And I know that, whatever I'm able to do inside there, he won't be able to. If I take him to deep waters, I know I drown him. Wherever it's on the feet, on the ground, mixing it together. I'm just excited to go out there and perform.
So don't call it a comeback, but Cody Garbrandt is back.
Absolutely.
No love's in the house. Listen, just to finish off, can you stop posting pictures of yourself on social media in lycra after you've been on the cycling, man? Right? Because all the keen cyclists out there, they can't compete with that physique, mate. All right? Nobody looks good in lycra by you. So stop doing it.
I try to get all the crazy jazz ones, the best ones, but yeah, cycling was great. I used that implement going to 125. I'd be on those bikes for quite some time. Me and my buddy Vince Murdoch, that was on The Ultimate Fighter, he got into cycling pretty heavily because he had his brain surgery, so he couldn't take impact. So he started cycling. We were out there, doing 100 miles at a time. So
I've no problem with you cycling. It's the gear, mate.
It's the gear.
I can't keep up with you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, all right.
You're putting us all to shame.
Do you cycle on the streets?
Streets, yep.
Right, and let me ask you this. Do you cycle side by side when there's cars behind you? Because if you do, I'm going to run you over.
No.
Because you're a total knobhead if you do. And I will beep and I will honk the horn and say, get over. I'm trying to pass.
You want
single file, please.
No, so if there's a bike sign, all right, you got to share the bike. You got to share with the bikers, But no, I actually, being a cyclist made me a better driver. So I'm looking out for
Get a bike, Mike. Get a bike, because you know what I mean.
I've been hit once.
Me and Paul Felder.
There you go. There you go. Let's go.
Got it. Enjoy the next 24
guys.
hours as you rehydrate, my
Yes,
man.
sir.
And we're looking forward to see you do your thing once again, buddy. Take care, buddy.
Get it done, man. Good luck.
Well done, buddy. Good to see
Look
you.
good in purple, Mike.
Thank you.
Get him some lycra. Get him some purple lycra.
I've had a lot of compliments and I've had a lot of insults on this shirt today. I don't know whether I'm coming or going. Gina said she liked it. I got abused by the security guard on the way in.
I like it, Mike.
It takes a real man to wear purple.
The sweat patches look great. Just on
here.
You haven't got sweat patches on the
Really have.
Just on that though, listen, he's in great spirits today. He looks really well, nice and
That's good to see.
Looks great. Lovely big smile on his face. He's happy. He's in a happy place. Also look at the fact that Shevchenko Jones is coming into this fight, but he's a southpaw. Now, Cody's only won one of his last 5, but that was against Asin Sao, who is a southpaw.
Yeah.
Traditionally, he's done well against southpaws.
Yeah. And he threw. Go on.
No, go on.
I was listening to my direction from our team here because we've got another guest coming up in a minute.
Right.
Just a quick one, if you are just tuning into the show, we are waiting still for John Jones and Ciryl Gane to hit the scales.
They're the only two.
No. We've got
Jeff
Jeff Neal as well. We're still waiting for Ian Gary. He's not been through. Martinez and Blackshear still to come through. But one man that has been through is about to come and join us on the show right now. Shall we bring in Mateusz Gamrot? Mateusz, come on, my friend. Come and join us.
Mateusz, what's going on, buddy?
Good morning.
Look at this man. Eh?
I know.
Feeling great, feeling hungry, and ready to go.
Well, when you're feeling hungry, what are we eating?
Right now or in the camp?
Tarantulas?
Tomorrow, tarantulas. Exactly. I love animals,
Do you love snakes?
Snakes,
do you keep
animals, and
snakes?
payong,
And the pythons,
Yeah, spider is the name, Payong is from Poland.
Oh,
Spider is from
okay.
English, yes, exactly.
But do you keep snakes in a cage?
In the cage?
Yeah, do you keep snakes at home?
No.
That's good,
No,
that's good.
no,
Long
no.
story. Long story. Anyway, Jalen Turner, change of opponent, you stepped up short notice.
Exactly.
What are the risks coming into this fight? I mean, I'm assuming you're in great shape. That fight you had against Arman Sarukian, one of my favourite fights. The speed, the pace, the technique. It shows the stamina that you have. But coming into this one, where's the confidence at?
The first moment, stamina is like gift from the God. My coach, Mike Brown, tell me like that, And another things, I want to be active fighters, My last fight was 5 months ago. I didn't feel like I deserve holiday on break too long time. Couple days ago, I back to gym, train hard, and waiting to new opportunity. Tarantula is great matchups for me. He's really high level striker.
Long legs
to
grab,
skinny legs, and perfect matchups. I love guys like this guy. I think so. My grappling, my jiu-jitsu, and my wrestling is much level than him. So tomorrow I will be confident to fight.
He was with us earlier and he said it's a much better fight for him because obviously you're ranked above him, so he's looking at climbing the ranking, so you are risking your position in the division by having a quick turnaround as well. But did the UFC contact you about this fight, or did you put your hand up as soon as you heard Dan Hooker was out?
the first thing is I don't care in my position in ranking. You know, I am warrior. Challenge is my second name. I am in my prime right now. I am 32 years old. You know, train very hard every day. Everybody who train with me in the gym can feel it, you know. And yeah, I saw John Hooker was injured. A couple of days ago, I get phone from my manager. Hey, UFC give me offer to your fight. And I say, no problem, boss. I am ready to go.
Yeah.
At this moment, I was in Spanish Jiu-Jitsu camp with my friends. Take my equipment and go to Florida. Spend 10 days to Florida American Top Team. Train with Johnny Elben, Roman and Scott Askman. Short time, but very intensive. And today I am in Vegas.
I was going to say, Mateusz, off the back of the Beneil fight that you had, obviously disappointment for you. How do you look back at that now? Because I've heard a couple of interviews where I could see it in your face. You're like, oh man, just one little tiny little thing. Is it still with you? And is that the reason why you put your hand up at last minute in order to get back on the horse and get going?
The honestly things is like that. This was my first big event to UFC, pay-per-view event.
Yeah.
Many media, many superstars around me, and to be honest, I lose my control in my head. You know, I wanna go to cage and make war. I lose my strategy. I lose my head. You know, but right now I can say thank you, Beneil, because he give me big lesson. Now I am more mature fighter than before. Right now, like, be smarter, have more plans, and ready to go.
Learning from experience. That's what it is. You learn from experience.
Big experience.
And that's really interesting, because I was going to say to you, you know, the fight with Beneil, and nobody likes to talk about losses, but you learn from losses.
Oh, exactly.
I was going to say, what do you think went wrong? But you think it was that walking in, not handling the occasion, the adrenaline, the emotions. You just weren't used to that.
I don't control my emotion, and I step to octagon, and I only shoot, only wrestling, only wrestling. And you know, this is easy to take down, to defense take down. When I well prepare my setup, my MMA skills, like kickboxing, boxing, and then shoot two legs, will be a lot better. And so this is my big lesson from a fight with Beneil, you know, because this moment I take only wrestling. I take him down and fight in the ground, because Beneil was former world championship in jiu-jitsu. He tapped everybody in the cage in submission, and so this was challenge for me. And if he is the best in the ground, I can go with him into the ground, you know.
So don't be predictable. Keep them guessing.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's something like that, but
because that's what when Jalen was out here, he said, he kind of suggested that your tactic would be straight out, try and take him down, and he's ready for that. He's waiting for that. What you're saying is you're going to be a little bit more patient now. You're going to be play his game a little bit and then look for the openings.
First thing is I am not afraid he's striking. You know, of course he is tall. He has long arm, but everybody in my gym in American Top Team tell me, hey man, believe your striking, believe your hands. You are really tough in the feet. And so this fight, I wanna be like confident in the striking. I wanna change punch with him in the feet. And then when I see opportunity, go down. And I am much better fighting in ground, and I have couple tricks in the ground, and if I will take position what I want to do, I finish this guy in the ground.
Look at this guy, right? He's ready to fight now. I can see he's fainting. He's ready to shoot.
This is my life. I only did this. This is my sport. I fighting for myself, but I fighting for my family, because I want to show what is hard work, determination, and the strength to the goal, and for my country.
I was going to say your country as well.
And my country as well, and I want to show my country who is the best. Was Joanna champion? Was Juan Bohovic champion? Next, I am.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Listen,
of course.
Enjoy the rest of the day. We're looking forward to seeing you do your thing once again, Mateusz. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for invite. See you tomorrow,
buddy.
guys.
All the best. All the best.
Man. There you go, Mr. Gamrot. There you go. Thank you very much, Mateusz Gamrot. In great spirits. I'd say he's ready for violence right now, isn't he?
No, he is.
I thought he was always like that.
He's always ready to
Well, as I said,
down.
that fight against Arman Sarukian, the
Great
pace
fight.
was ridiculous. And trying to take people down, trying to engaging in those wrestling matches, is so tiring. And I think wrestling matches are 2 minutes a round. 2 minutes around. They did 5 5s at a relentless pace. That shows you the kind of physical specimen that we're dealing with here.
The transitions in that fight were ridiculous, weren't they?
Ridiculous.
Feet down, up, down, everywhere.
But just interesting and nice to hear there. You know, he's a very experienced guy. He was a star in Poland before he came into the UFC. He's had 23 professional fights. It was a big fight against Benil, and he's mature enough and confident enough to go, I blew it. I blew it before I got inside the cage. I let the moment get to me. I didn't stick to the game plan, and that's really refreshing to hear that. And he's gone, I know why I lost. I lost because I let go of this. I didn't keep controlling my mind, but I've learned from that. And he won't let his mind take over in there. It sounds like tomorrow as well.
Well, you learn, like you just said, you learn from losses, but you learn more importantly from experiences.
Of course.
There's no price for experience in this game.
It's like I was saying yesterday. We were having a chat, and I was saying when I fought at UFC 17 Manchester, and I went out, and the crowd went ballistic, and it all went to my mind, and I sprinted to the octagon. I tried running in with my trainers and my hoodie on, and all the rest of it, and that nearly cost me the fight. You know, it really did. So then the next time out, I was like, right, be ready for the crowd. This is when I fought Matt Hamill. Keep it nice and calm. Right, keep it nice and calm. And I went out there and I was too calm. I was walking out, I was waving at my mom and all the rest of it, giving Dana a thumbs up and and then we start fighting and I'm getting my head smashed in. Do you know what I mean? Obviously he had me in a headlock and he was just smacking me in the nose like you would your little brother. And I'm like, what's going on? This is not going to plan. So again, but it's experience. It's learning how to deal with your emotions and allowing yourself to get in this correct mental state. Too much, you're going to blow it. Too little, you're going to find out pretty quick. You know, so it comes with experience. You can't buy that. You can only learn it, and people can tell you, coaches can tell you, they can drill it into you. But until you've been through it yourself, it's hard to actually make those changes and adjust your way of thinking.
And that's the experience. That experience that Gamrot has had is something Jalen is yet to have, which may impact on the fight. But listen, Jalen's red hot. Kid's knocked out his last 5 opponents.
Listen, this is UFC 285 weighing day, as you know. I'm just having a quick look down as we've been talking to people. Various other fighters have been hitting the scales. We're still waiting for John Jones. We're still waiting for Ciryl Gane. Heavyweights do this to us all the time,
don't
they?
Come on, boys.
Jeff Neal's still to come through as well. So they're the 3 from the main card that we're still waiting for. On the early prelims, Ian Gary, and we've also got Martinez and Blackshear still to come through. So 6 fighters still to hit the scales this morning. But we just had a little bit of breaking news. Not official from the UFC, this, but Marcel Dorf, who is a reliable source normally when it comes to the breaking news, when it comes to fights. UFC 288, Jessica Andrade, Yan Xiaonan. Jessica Andrade getting straight back on the horse after obviously falling off against Erin Blanchfield recently.
Yeah, she was actually calling for a title fight, I think, as well, at bantamweight, because she lost at flyweight. She said, give me a title fight at bantamweight. I thought that was a bit mental, but whatever. Yan Xiaonan, I think she's coming off the win over Mackenzie Dern. Great performance. Hands look sensational. Great fight. I mean, she's got Yan Xiaonan, great hands, very exciting, very violent. And Jessica Andrade, oh my God.
Money.
So that fight is going to be ridiculous. Andrade is just, anytime she fights, you've got to watch her. Listen, against Blanchfield, wasn't a good showing. It wasn't. She stepped up last minute. She looked flat. She was out-grappled. She was outmatched. You know, but generally when she's on, she's money.
Absolutely. What do you make of that?
I think it's a great fight. I think it's a don't blink fight, you know. Andrade is so small, compact, real tight boxing, throws real heavy hands. Xiaonan, a lot taller, a lot more creative with her striking, but solid on the ground as well. Obviously, it all pushes towards a potential win there, would open up the All China super fight with the champion as well. So I think it's a brilliant fight.
Just again, I just want to quickly refer back to Cody Garbrandt, who was with us a moment or two ago, talking about the development of the bantamweight division, and he said something there which rang true. Even though we've got Aljamain Sterling that has become the champion, we know that Henry Cejudo is going to come back into this division and challenge the champion. But if you look at the runners and riders and the contenders that are in that top 10, it is pretty much similar to what he experienced 2-3 years ago when he was at the top of the tree.
It certainly hasn't been overhauled in any way, and I think that's what will give Cody confidence, because he knows that he's still, listen, I know he's not in great form right now, 1 win in his last 5, as I say, but he's still Cody Garbrandt. He's still the former champion. He's still the guy that was the man.
Look at the physique on that man. Look at that. That is not John Jones.
That is insane.
And don't forget, in a couple of weeks we've got Chito Vera versus Corey Sandhagen.
Yes.
I mean, that is title fight implications written all over it, and an incredible fight as well. So the bantamweight division is really on fire right now.
But because of who he is, what he was,
opportunities come quick.
Then that name value,
yes,
it holds something, doesn't it?
Of course.
So therefore, he's literally a couple of fights away from getting right back into the proper mix of stuff.
Even though now the big stars, if you will, at bantamweight, you know, they haven't fought Cody Garbrandt because, you know, they're at the top and Cody's trying to climb back now. Mm-hmm. I still think any of them would welcome fighting Cody Garbrandt because, as you said, the name value, the former champion, and people know what he's capable of. So, and he's exciting. You know, even the fights where he didn't get the job done, still showed up.
Proper scraps.
Proper scraps, exactly.
Yeah. You just saw Blackshear there just hitting the scales at 136. You were impressed with the physique, didn't you?
He was ripped. He's in good shape, to say the least.
Right, let's get back into the main event. Obviously, the heavyweight title on the line for Jon Jones and Ciryl Gane. Still waiting for these two boys to come and join us and hit the scales. They're obviously just having a couple of breakfast and playing psychological warfare with each other. Since Jones has been away, and this kind of was part of our conversation that we had with Jones yesterday, which is available on the YouTube channel. And again, talking about the development of divisions. He's had the plan in his mind for 3 years that he was coming to heavyweight. So he's gone away, he's rebuilt himself, he's been doing whatever he's been doing in order to get himself to this particular situation. But the division itself has changed so much, hasn't it? I mean, we've seen Stipe be the king. Then we saw, obviously, battles with DC. Then we saw, obviously, Francis come through. And now we've got this new crop of youngblood. We've got Sergey Pavlovich, for example, who's the backup fighter that's already weighed in a little bit earlier on. This division has changed quite a lot over the 3 years that Jones has been away.
It has changed for the better.
Yes.
You know, I mean, guys like Tom Aspinall as well. Let's not forget him.
Of course, yeah.
Tom's doing incredible things. But I just want to going back to Jon and Jon moving up. This is, if he does become a champ, of course he will be a two-weight division champion. Not a champ because they're not consecutively or not simultaneously, pardon me. But also it's different. You know, when other people have stepped up, they've done it relatively quickly. Correct. Jon hasn't, as a light heavyweight, just decided, I'm not going to cut weight. I'm just going to fight my natural weight as heavyweight. He's reinvented himself. And that's what he's been doing for 3 years. You know, so it is a little different, but it also makes it very exciting. But it also poses a lot of questions. We've said it a million times. Because he is heavier, because he is bigger, because he's going to be stronger, more powerful, there's pluses and there's negatives.
Longest layoff of his professional career as well.
Ring rust as well. You know, there's a lot of questions here at stake.
There is. But of course, he's still Jon Jones, and it's when you talk about the greatest of all time, it's not about what have you done for me lately. That's the pound for pound list. It's the greatest of all time list. It's what have you done your entire career. That cold, cumulative body of work, and his body of work is absolutely phenomenal. It's going to be really interesting to see when that cage door closes, whether it's the Jon Jones that tailed off in his light heavyweight career, or it truly is a brand new, fully reinvigorated, hungry challenger. They're throwing, spinning elbows and, all those teep kicks to the belly and everything else. If it's that version of Jon Jones, the super creative, flow like water Jon Jones, then my goodness, we're in for an absolute treat. But does that guy exist anymore?
Yeah, when did you last see that guy? That's the point,
question.
Isn't it?
Does he exist anymore?
How old is Jones right now?
35.
As you get older, that fire starts to go out.
Yeah.
It just does. Let me tell you. I mean, I've been able to maintain a job with BT Sport and the UFC for quite some time. I've grown and matured, but the point I'm making is, when I started my career, I was a blaze of aggression. You know what I mean? And it tapers off a little bit. It just does. Tyrone Woodley. It was a very, very dominant champion. Towards the end, very, very lackluster performances. Not because he was super old, because that fire went out.
That's right.
You know, you've got the money. You've changed your life circumstances. You've got money in the bank. You're happy. You've got fame. You've proved yourself to the world. There's no more chip on the shoulder. You're not trying to prove yourself. So all that's, he's achieved greatness. He's achieved everything that any fighter sets out to do.
Yeah.
He's got the belts, he's got the accolades, he's got the reputation, he's made history, he's the youngest champ ever, he's got millions of dollars in the bank.
Yeah.
So is he still the same person, even after 3 years and coming up to heavyweight? That adds to that question.
Of course. And listen, it was 12 years ago that he beat Shogun and became champion, age 23. And how many athletes in history peak at such a young age, early 20s, mid 20s, and are still at their peak in their mid 30s? Not many. I'll tell you who are. the greats, the Cristiano Ronaldos of this world, the Lionel Messis of this world, guys that consistently compete at the very highest level for over a decade. They're the all-time greats, and that's the pressure on Jon Jones. Because I tell you now, listen, do a poll in this room, most people will probably say, yeah, Jon Jones, the greatest of all time. Do a poll on Sunday morning if he loses to Ciryl Gane. Nobody will be saying it then.
No,
People go,
no,
well,
no.
actually,
I disagree with that.
Actually, I don't know, GSP, Anderson Silva, let's have a little look. It becomes a question then, rather than a statement.
I understand what you're saying there, but for me, I don't think it.
Hey, Ciryl Gane. Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, I will listen. When Ciryl Gane hits the scales, I'll absolutely.
I'm very
shut
sorry
up.
for preempting what's about to happen.
Well, what I was going to say
No,
is...
no, it's fine. Just
I think Jon Jones' legacy is assured. The
It
body
Here
of
we
work
go.
that he did.
We'll
Come back to this conversation in a minute, but here comes Ciryl Gane, Ciryl Gane.
He looks absolutely chilled.
Yeah, look at that. Well, he's always chilled. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He really is. Carved out of stone, a true heavyweight, a physical specimen, light on his feet, an incredibly agile athlete, very confident,
Yeah.
and representing the nation of France, trying to become the undisputed champ. 247.
Looks in some shape there.
Oh,
big.
incredible shape, and that's a big heavyweight.
That is a big, old, natural heavyweight, you know. That guy has got that frame. That's his natural frame, his natural size. One thing I will say about Jon Jones moving up to heavyweight, because we talked about it a lot during his light heavyweight campaign, but then the heavyweight division looked different.
Yeah.
There wasn't people like Ciryl Gane,
Yeah.
Tom Aspinall, people with that light on their feet kind of movement, quick, fast hands, solid ground game like Aspinall's got. There wasn't like that next generation heavyweight athlete competing when Jon Jones was at light heavyweight. In the 3 years he's been away, yes, he's been rebuilding himself, but the heavyweight division's been transformed, and the people who move like Jon Jones moved at light heavyweight, there's heavyweights that move like that now already in this division, waiting for them.
Not just the heavyweight division, though. He even said it himself yesterday. The sport has changed entirely since he's been gone. I mean, the UFC itself has grown massively. The sport, the techniques have completely evolved.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we got calf kicks all over the place. The level of the athletes now that the sport is attracting, the money that's involved with this sport now, it has changed massively. So not only the heavyweights, but in general, you know, the athletes are fitter, they're faster, they're better.
I think what this makes this such a great fight is, we wouldn't be shocked if Ciryl Gane knocked out Jon Jones. We won't be shocked if Jon Jones subs or TKOs Ciryl Gane. Like, literally,
It's a real
anything
possibility.
could happen.
Yeah,
Anything could happen.
No, that's a real possibility. It is a real... I mean, I'd be willing to put money on that. It'd be a massive outside bet, but I'm telling you, if Ciryl Gane wins, he does it by knocking him out, not by decision.
Yeah. On the legacy conversation with Jon, just to refer back to it, like I said, I personally believe that the legacy is assured because of the body of work that he's had previously at light heavyweight. I think he can obviously he adds to it. You become the heavyweight champion of the world.
Oh, he massively adds to it.
Massively adds to it.
He rubber stamps it with a big rubber, just says GOAT. That's what he does.
But I think in defeat, I don't think it affects.
I disagree.
What's happened previously?
I disagree, because those fans were fickle, baby, and it's hard to defend a guy, especially when you've had people like Khabib who've gone undefeated their entire records. As Mike pointed out, there's people in the UFC that have been a simultaneous champ. Jon ain't done that. Jon's gone away, rebuilt, come back. He's going to try and win a second belt in the second weight division. His body of work, yes, it stands alone. But it's kind of like, think about boxing. Roy Jones Jr., one of the greatest of all times. But towards the end of his career, he was taking silly fights against silly people, lost a lot of fights. Now a lot of people don't even put him in the GOAT conversation. Had he ended his career at that point, people probably say he's the greatest of all time. Jon Jones is running that risk. I believe he's putting it on the line. It may not be Saturday night, but of course, every time he steps in that octagon, his reputation, his GOAT status is on the line.
And that's why, because he's still only, what did we say, 35? 35 years old. So it's not like if he comes back and he
heavyweight's peak in late 30s.
Yeah, heavyweight's peak in late 30s, and he's not an old man. You know what I mean?
And he's just signed a multi-fight deal.
He's still
he's going to
in
be for a
his
bit.
physical prime. You know, so if he loses this fight, it's not a case of, oh, he stuck around far after his best. He shouldn't have been fighting at that age. When he was in his prime, he was dominating. No, if he loses this fight, then people will start to say, oh, Bear. And by the way, I feel like Thiago Santos beat him anyway.
There you go.
That will be what the fans, that will be the turn of the narrative.
Yep. Completely.
Okay, you win that argument. I'll give you that.
Me or Nick?
Both of you.
No.
You were together. I got tag team.
We did.
We're still waiting for Mr. Jones. I know we're speaking about him a lot. We're waiting for him. We're waiting for Jeff Neal, Ian Gary and Martinez. In fact...
Speak of the devil.
I can see family members of Ian Gary, so I'm assuming that Ian is here, ready to hit the scales in a moment or two. We've been waxing lyrical, obviously, about Ian throughout the course of the programme, haven't we? And looking extremely excited about seeing him back in the octagon. This division... is starting to shape up really nice now at welterweight, isn't it? I know that obviously we've been speaking about Shevchenko. We know that Leon's the champ. We've got a great fight coming up in London in only a couple of weeks' time. The next big numbered card against Kamaru Usman. But you look down that welterweight division at 170. My days, there's some serious fights to get excited about, potential fights throughout the course of this next year.
Yeah, we talk a lot, don't we, about the lightweight division and how stacked it is from 1 down to 20. But welterweight's not far behind, man. There's so much talent in that division. And it feels like lightweight. It feels like over the next 18 months, 2 years, the look of that division is going to change entirely in terms of who's currently ranked up in the top 10. There's a lot of guys still who have been around for a long time that I think are going to drop out of those rankings, and there's a lot of fresh blood that's going to take their place. So yeah, listen, it's always been the most busiest division because of the average size of a human being. 170 has always been one of the hottest divisions in the sport of MMA.
And let's remember, 2 weeks' time, the belt is on the line.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And that could change a lot of things and change a lot of people's opinions. Like, Kamaru Usman was a very, very dominant champion because he's so complete. If Leon can beat him, rightly or wrongly, a lot of people, wrestlers, are going to think, oh, I can beat him. Kamaru made a mistake. Kamaru's getting old. So it's going to add some new... I mean, Leon is the champ. He's already added that new life, if you will. But if he beats him again, then that... It's probably the end of Kamaru Usman.
It is. Yeah.
You know, and I hesitated to say that because it sounds disrespectful, and that's not what I'm trying to do, but it probably is.
It is, absolutely.
We'll pipe down now because Ian Gary's about to hit the stage. Oh, he's got a big beaming smile on his face. Taking on Son Kinan tomorrow evening.
He loves it, doesn't he? Hey.
171, the official weight for Ian Gary.
He absolutely loves it.
So, I keep referring back to the interview that we did with him a couple of days ago, which is available on the BT Sport YouTube channel. He at that age, I can't even remember half the things that I was doing at his age, mate. He is so mature, he's so switched on, the way that he thinks about this sport. Tiny little things like, instead of being in the fighter hotel this week, he's got himself a place away so therefore he can prepare his own food properly and just get psychologically right and around what is ahead of him at the weekend. Training camps, as we were talking about before, being prepared to go to Brazil, being prepared to go to New Zealand. All these little things at such a young age are just holding him in good stead going forward.
Well, he's learning because that's what other people are doing as well. When you look at your peers, when you look at the champions and people like that, they're doing that, they're making those sacrifices, they're paying that cash, that hard-earned money to do so. Because when you're investing in your career, correct. Because when you're in the fighter hotel and stuff, it's a madhouse. Certainly here in Vegas on a big fight week like this, you can't move without, you know, when you're fighting on the card, people want your attention, and it's great to be surrounded by that.
Of course.
It's amazing. You feel that energy and you want to give back to the fans, but it's also very exhausting mentally, and it can detract from the fight. Now, going back to the violent side of him, you know, that's great to see because you need that. That is the name of the game. You know, and some people have that in abundance and some people kind of struggle with that. He has it in abundance times 10. He wants to do that, and that's what you need. You've got to go out there and you've got to be able to, when you've damaged your opponent and he's getting up off the floor and his face is all mangled and it's covered in blood, you've got to grab him by the ears and just stick your knee in his face, obliterate his nose, right? And you've got to be fine with doing that. And that's a special kind of person, or an absolute psychopath, which I like to say, we're special, but you understand what I'm saying? It's a certain kind of mindset, and that's what you need in there.
And he has got that. You can see that in his fight. You can see it when he's around fight camp. You know, there's a reason why he's had, 3 fights in the UFC. They've all been on pay-per-view cards. Because he brings eyeballs, and he's a really special type of fighter. He has come off the back of 2 points decisions. If you look at his career,
last one he was good though, wasn't he?
He was outstanding.
He was good last time out,
He loves the violence.
Yes.
And he will... I know Ian Gary's mentality this weekend is huge show, John Jones, massive eyeballs. I want to smash someone. I want to make a statement. I want a bonus. I want everyone to be talking about Ian Gary on Sunday morning.
You know John Jones, you know what he's doing, don't you?
He's keeping us waiting for the last
He's
half
rocking
hour.
up. I'm telling you,
5
he's
minutes to go.
rocking up. 2 minutes to go. Because,
do you think he loves the narrative? He loves the chat?
Well,
because he knows that a few people start to panic a little bit now.
No, it ain't that.
I'm
It ain't that.
I'm
no.
panicking.
Well, he's not panicking.
Yeah, I know.
He's chilling because for the first time in his entire career, he doesn't need to make weight.
Yeah.
And it's such a blessing. I mean, I never experienced that. I can only imagine. You can luxuriate this week. You can eat, you can stay hydrated, you can focus on the things that will help you win the fight, as opposed to focusing on making weight, which is such a drag and such a physical and mental toll.
Did you even have to cut when you were doing light heavy?
No, I didn't. The day, when I was at light heavyweight, the day before, when I fought at UFC 70 in Manchester, I was so stressed out getting everybody tickets. I had about 100 tickets on the floor. I'm like, this guy, that guy, and collecting money, and then I had to get them the tickets. So never ask me for a ticket again. And if you know fighters, don't ask them for tickets because you're doing their head in. Right? And I was so stressed out with it. I was driving back to Clitheroe. I thought I'd sleep in my own bed. I'm driving along the M6. I saw Burger King.
Beautiful.
I'm like, I'm starving. Forgot all about the fight. Pulled off. Got a triple Whopper with cheese and bacon, fries, and a large Coke. And that sound at the end, when you finish the drink, when what am I doing?
That moment.
I'm weighing it in the morning. And I still breezed onto the scale.
Amazing.
But anyway, back to John Jones. So he's enjoying this moment.
And that's why he went down to middle.
Yeah, no, it is.
Let's talk
But he's enjoying the moment, and he's lying in bed and he's taking it easy.
But also, Mike, you speak to a lot of fighters, and the weight cut is part of the mental preparation to prepare for war. Putting yourself through the grinder, to have that night before
Punishing
where you
yourself.
are sacrificing yourself, you're drilling your body down. It's like, right, I'm preparing to step into the Colosseum, I'm preparing to fight the lions. It's all. Whereas John, as you say, he's kicking back, he's having something to eat, he's chilling. His mindset will be different than it's ever been in any of his previous fights. Is there a chance he starts, he takes his eye off the ball?
The Henry Cejudo. No, there is, because as you were saying that, I was thinking, I was putting myself back when I used to do it. And when you do, when you're making those weight cuts, and you're water loading and you're eradicating the sodium and the carbs and all the rest of it, you feel so good.
Yes.
You feel alive.
Yeah.
You feel light. You feel
Locked in.
fast.
Yeah.
You feel ready to go out there and do some real damage. You know what I mean? You don't feel sluggish. You don't feel like, oof, I ate a bit too much yesterday.
Yeah.
You don't feel, you've got to get out of bed. You've got to go for those runs, You're going to take it easy fight weight, but you still got to do a bit. You still got to stay sharp. You don't have to do that when you're at heavyweight. So, yeah, there is a potential for that to be a negative.
You might just see in the back of our shot there, Henry Cejudo.
Triple C.
There he is.
Get over here, Henry. Should we get him on?
Absolutely. I
think he wants to come on.
I think he's just
Let's
checking.
get Henry.
I'm assuming that Henry's maybe here for Mr. Jones because they've been teaming
Henry.
up. They've been doing a little bit of work.
Yeah.
I think he's got his little. He's
got
No, Max is like, yes, we're getting conflicting. I don't know what's going on.
The production behind the camera is conflicting at the moment, but yeah, hopefully we'll speak to Henry.
Triple C's
That speaks volumes, doesn't it? A Triple C's been here. That just shows you how much work he's done with John Jones and around this camp.
But it also means that John's about to walk out.
That's
and
it.
the wrestling. It
That's
means
it.
the wrestling.
Oh,
is
yeah,
there. That's what it's all about, this fight for John Jones.
100%. But it means John's about to walk out in a minute.
And he'll hit the scales. But I wanted to refer to Henry because we're talking about a time where maybe over the last 2 years, the pay-per-view stars of the UFC, we've been looking for him, haven't we? Because obviously Conor's not fought for a long period of time. John's been out. Henry went as well. Where's that star?
They're all coming back.
They're all coming back.
About a year.
And it's great to have Henry back in the UFC because he is a character and he's a blooming good mixed martial artist as well.
Yeah, exactly. The king of cringe, all that stuff. Forget about that. Look at what he does inside the octagon.
He can fight.
It's unreal.
Immense.
Look what he did to TJ Dillashaw, to Dominic Cruz, two of the best ever in their primes.
Yeah.
Got them out very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Olympic gold medalist, 2 weight division champion.
He beat Demetrius Johnson. You know what I mean?
Beat Demetrius Johnson.
He saved that flyweight division, let's be honest. That flyweight division at one stage was talk of it being cut because it was so one-sided. Triple C came in and brought the energy.
Yeah.
And that's it, it's the personality. You can have all the fighting skills and prowess and everything else inside the octagon, but you've got to be able to sell a fight, man. This is a business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And Triple C knows how to sell a fight.
Yeah, he's walking around with a belt on. He's
Love it, of
walking
course.
with his baby, which is lovely and cute.
Yes.
But he's got the belt on,
I'm
which is also cringe.
No, I'm a big fan of that.
I'm a big fan as well.
Come on, man.
Get out of
I
town.
want you to
Where's
do
yours?
that. Yeah, I want you to do
I
that.
would never. Who was it? Tim Sylvia used to do it.
Did he?
Here's a throwback. He used to go to UFC fights wearing his UFC belt when he was the champ. I was like,
Keeping his kicks up.
what an absolute melon.
No,
do you know what I mean?
I'm all in.
No way.
If I'd have achieved that level, my friend, I would have the belt on constantly.
All right, so hold on a minute. So they can wear the belt walking around as an actual belt, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But when I put on the Hall of Fame jacket, you guys ripped me.
Immense.
Yeah,
No, that was immense.
Yeah.
I was like, mate, if you've got it, wear it.
Bring it next time.
Yeah. That's because we're mates. We're just having banter.
No, I
Good fun.
Leave me
Good
alone.
fun.
It is starting. You can just feel a little bit of the energy just piping up a touch.
Yeah.
We're
The room's
anticipating.
filling
Let's
up.
get Henry.
Do you-
Henry.
The room's filling up.
We're anticipating John Jones very shortly.
He's begging.
Do you know what I love?
Gary's begging
Do you know what I
over
love
there.
about this?
What's up, Henry? How are you, buddy?
There he
go
is.
here.
Yeah,
Give
of
Henry that
course.
microphone there.
Here we go. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, Henry. How are you? You well?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, excited.
Assuming John's here, because you're here.
Of course. John is a different beast. I think there is one thing that you have to recognize and realize with John is it's the rekindling of the love of the sport. When you've accomplished everything,
She's so beautiful. Sorry, I'm trying to listen to you, but she's looking at me. It's like, oh my God. So, wrestling then. Wrestle.
And John has every tool. John could wrestle. John could strike. John could do whatever the hell he wants. You know, he's that gifted. Being able to train with them and actually coach him. I mean,
He's probably, sorry, she's stealing your microphone, Nick. No, come on, sorry, Henry. Oh,
Nick, what have you done?
I'm
What have you
sorry.
done?
You took the
You've
microphone.
upset little Cejudo there.
But that being said, Bisping is John Jones is ready, and I think he gets it done in 3. Like I don't see Ciryl Gane going past championship rounds.
Just a quick look. So I can tell that you want to get on with your day. I can see. Just a quick one from your point of view.
Yeah.
How good is it to be back?
Yes.
Oh, it's good. It's good. It's good to be back, but this is purely business, as you know, Bisping. Once you have a kid, I'm out here to
Changes
see,
everything.
kill, and destroy. I see Aljamain. I see all these chunks like dollar signs, so they're all gonna get it.
Real quick on Jones, a lot of people are talking about his physique, and he looks a little softer. Of course, he's come up to heavyweight. Is that affecting his speed, his cardio, or anything like that?
None whatsoever. It's like you watch him with his leg kicks, and I can see why. I can see how John caught Cormier at light heavyweight. Sneaks his leg kicks so good. When you see him at heavyweight, it's almost like you almost feel like it's a flyweight throwing head kicks. He's gifted. In that sense, I think that's his best ability. He has that God-given ability.
Yeah. All right, we'll let you get out of here.
Guys.
Get your hands
Thank you
full,
so much for
literally. Bye. She's taking that microphone. She's happy. She's like, I'm
Guys, you
having
guys make
that.
sure hit up my Venmo because I got that formula.
Take it easy. Good to see you.
Nice one,
Henry.
Henry. Top man.
I apologise to Gary O'Donnell. He's in the background hating me right now.
He was adorable.
Not even a smile from him.
No, he's not. He's fuming. But it's nice to see Henry back, like I say, in this mix. And interesting that John, again, we spoke to John a little bit about this yesterday, but he has taken himself, even at the stage of his career and his life now, just taking himself out, going to other gyms, still believing that he can learn and push himself, and obviously working along with Henry kind of insinuates what he's been working on.
Yeah, of course, and you know, we've alluded to that all week, haven't we? And I don't think it's rocket science to know that John Jones has got a major advantage here over Ciryl Gane. Evidently, he's going to use that advantage, and why shouldn't he? Because this is mixed martial arts, and you know, at the end of the day, you've got to be a fully rounded athlete, and John Jones is going to exploit a hole, and Henry's kind of aware of that, you know. Nice little inside tip there. He's saying Ciryl Gane ain't getting to the championship rounds. That says it all. That John's going to set a pace.
This is why I wanted to talk to Henry, though, because it's all well and good sitting there and looking at him, looking at pictures, listening to what John's going to say. Because of course John's going to say, I feel great. I'm going to win this fight. I'm the better fighter. Blah, 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 blah. I want to hear from someone that's coaching him, that's in there with him every single day and seeing what he's capable of and seeing how well he is moving at that weight class. Now, granted, fair enough, he's not going to come on and talk bad about the guy that is training. But still, I do see a real confidence coming from Henry because of what he's witnessed in the gym.
Yeah, I think we can get caught up, can't we, in the whole body beautiful, especially at a weigh-in day like this where so many fighters are on the scales and there's literally not an ounce of fat on them. They're just completely shredded. But again, we come back to that shout in the heavyweight division. It's functional muscle. Doesn't matter what you look like. Ciryl Gane would probably look like that whether he was a fighter or not. He's naturally just an athletic
DNA.
physique guy. Yeah, he's just Anthony Joshua, and boxing's the same. Tyson Fury's the best for a reason. His body is functional, is perfectly made for fight sports, and maybe that's what they've crafted with John.
Just a quick one. Whilst we were speaking with Henry a moment or two ago, Mana Martinez weighed in at 137, £1 over the limit, and won't be coming back to cut that extra pound. So therefore I've no doubt there'll be a renegotiation, a little bit of a sacrifice of person, what have you. I fully anticipate that fight to go ahead, but we'll keep you up to date with that as that develops. Our team are just letting me know that they've got eyes on John Jones in the back, ready to rock and roll. So we are going to get there. Thank you very much for your time and your patience coming to join us for the Wayne Show here on BT Sport for UFC 285. Don't forget, this all goes down on BT Sport 1 a.m. is the prelims, with that main card getting underway from 3. Come and join us for it, because the cherry on top of the cake is the heavyweight championship of the world. We have seen Ciryl Gane. He looked incredible on the scales a moment or two ago. I know that you don't win fights on scales, but he did look good. He looked in great shape. He's been cool, calm and collected throughout the whole course of the week, and he's giving off some really nice energy heading into tomorrow night, as is Mr. Jones, but we're going to see him on the scales very, very shortly. I saw an interesting meme this week. Obviously there's loads of people obviously wanting to see Jones, they want to see the size of him, and there's a couple of pictures which, and he pointed this out himself yesterday, that maybe the belly area is a little bit bigger than it was at light heavyweight. And somebody posted a meme yesterday. It was brilliant, because there's some pictures where he's looking good and the six-pack's there and all that type of carry on. And it's the difference between posting a picture that you yourself would put on Instagram,
reality versus Instagram,
compared to what your mates would put up onto Instagram. Your mates would stitch you up a little bit, wouldn't they? You know what I mean? So there's one picture out of about 25 where you could, he's put it on. He's been eating pizzas.
Bit of a gut on him.
Yeah. But listen, it's functional.
Yeah.
You don't need to be body beautiful in this game. You've just got to be able to deliver what is needed.
But hold on a minute. It's not like he's rocking in here with a big, massive beer belly.
That's not what I'm saying.
He's got a couple of extra pounds on him.
That's not what I'm saying.
He still looks
incredible.
Probably better than all three of us with our shirts off, let's be honest.
Right, get ready, because it looks like Mr. Jones is going to hit the scales in a moment or two. You can judge for yourself.
Let's see him. It's been a long time, baby.
I'm looking pretty good, though, to be fair.
You've been at the gym this morning already, haven't you?
Oh, baby.
Yeah, what time are you up doing a bit of...
Well, I was awake at 4 o'clock in the morning, could not sleep. I live here as well, so I don't have jet lag, but I was in the gym at 7.
Good lad, that's what we like to see. Are you stripping off? Are you weighed in?
Those days are done for me. Those days are done.
Well, there he is.
Come on.
Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you've been waiting for. John Jones at heavyweight on the scales.
That's not a belly, that's a trunk.
Now, also, you see,
248.
248.
That's
£1 heavier.
Heavier than Ciryl Gane.
So, here's another thing to remember. There we go.
Size of that back, though.
Well, a little bit bigger in the midsection, just a bit, nothing bad, but that generally means a bigger backside, bigger thighs, and that's where you generate all the power. And if you're trying to wrestle someone and take them down, you need a strong, what's the word? A posterior chain.
Yep.
Posterior chain.
Wow, that's good.
Absolutely.
I did a bit.
And don't forget, that used to be the criticism with John. Those skinny legs.
Skinny legs,
Their legs are too skinny. He's got skinny legs. Listen, he's been away 3 years. For all we know, they may well have turned him into bodybuilder John Jones first. Wait a minute. You're not moving the same way. You're not as fast anymore. The muscle mass is stopping the explosion. Funnily, as mad as it is, maybe he was tiring too quickly. His body may have transformed 3 or 4 times over the last 3 years. Where he got, right, it's perfect now. This is the perfect heavyweight John Jones fighting machine.
Because let's be honest, it's not like he's lacking resources.
Exactly.
It's not like he's lacking the best nutritionists, the best psychologists, working with David Goggins, working with all these people. They want to be associated with somebody like that.
Of course.
And here's a man that wants to be associated with John Jones's face in the background. Ciryl Gane, Bon Gamin.
But we got Fernand Lopez. Let's get a little bit of insight from Fernand, shall we? The main man in Cyryl's corner. We have obviously spoke to Ciryl this week. Fernand, welcome to the
Bonjour.
show. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing, guys?
Very well, thank you. Excited.
Geez, only heavyweights here.
Yeah. You need sparring?
I can. I will choose this guy. I'm happy to trust you.
That'd be a wise choice.
Take on the little one. Fair enough, my man. Listen, obviously this is a huge event here in Las Vegas, Fernand. Preparations for this, for Ciryl. Talk to the difference in preparations for this fight compared to what it was like when you were taking on Francis the last time for the championship.
Okay. The first thing is about talking. We talk a lot on this camp, starting from the loss, talking about the loss. Because Ciryl was feeling a little bit bad. Like, I just want to let you know that I didn't quite listen. I didn't take that serious when you said to me that Francis could be a threat on the wrestling. I knew, but I was more focused on the nuke that he have on hands. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, yeah, man, you're right. I mean, who can blame you for that? Because this guy can just switch things off, you know. And so we start to doing the mental preparation with his coach, and he wanted to have me in the mental preparation. So we did like 3 of us working. Usman is a very great coach on mental preparation, and he did that with us, like talking about the word that I should use and how I should use to make him understand what I want and which way to do that, and we will be working together. That's one big part of this training, like because of the time. Like even for Johnson and for us, we only have 7 weeks. Mm-hmm. So he's cerebral, he's intelligent. We can work a lot on video, visualization, audition, listening, and we talk a lot on this camp. This is one of the things that we did. And the second thing is that I just noticed right away that he wanted to let go that dog that is saying. He's saying that I always had that dog on the Muay Thai. But when I come in the MMA, because of the lack of wrestling, you teach me how to move and how to avoid wrestling. I become soft. But that dog can be there anytime if you want. So that's what we're doing. We will try to keep moving, but when the shit hits the fence, you will be there.
Like a butterfly?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sting like a bee, perhaps?
I check what you said. And then you said that you don't see how this Ciryl can pull this out because it will have to be do that 25 minutes. And you said that at some point you will get tired, and but I think we're prepared for that. To keep moving that thing, and when we will need to face the wrestling part, we just have to do that not long. If we do that long, that may be a problem in the end. But if we can use that power time and then move on, that can be great.
It's funny that you not funny. It's interesting that you talk so much about the talking in the camp and the mental aspect, because when I was training, of course, the physical side of things is very important. But a lot of my best training was done when my coach Jason Perillo and I would sit down afterwards. I'd be covered in sweat, and we would talk about the fight, and we'd talk about the strategies, and talk about the emotions inside the head, and coming off a loss and coming off a defeat, and how to. Because you're battling your own mental demons as well, not only your opponent. So it's really, really interesting to hear you say that. But regarding the wrestling side of things, what has been the physical side?
Well, we brought this guy, Gaziev. He's fighting Ares, friends. He's from Dagestan. And he's fought recently in Brave FCF. So huge guy, very good on wrestling. That was the first sparring that we brought. And we brought this guy, Zelim Khan, heavyweight in French national team, 6-time French champion, very good, very fast. And we work on that. And also, people that tend to...
thank you very much, Ian Gary.
Being heckled by Ian Gary.
I just get out of bed like this, mate. You know, when you're blessed, you're blessed. What can I tell you? I am so beautiful. Sorry, Fernand.
You're beautiful.
But I am a beautiful man. We have to celebrate this.
That's true.
My God.
True. And we brought this kid for the striking. But what is good is that people they expect Ciryl to try to have sparring heavy, but it's not worry. We try to be the speed and the quicker that we can. And in order to have that, we just have to have someone who can kick very well, move very well, elbow very well, knee very well, and Imad is doing that. This kid is from Glory, and he's been playing every time that you just touch the knee of Ciryl Gane, you score a point. That's the game. No matter if you're a kicker, if you touch his knee, you score a point. So Ciryl will manage the distance, strike like with one of the best strikers out there, but know that if the guy touches point, that means that John Jones.
No, it's a good training technique. You know, you're here, and if you just touch your leg, then that's the takedown. So let me ask you, with these great training partners, sorry to hog it, Nick, with the great training partners and the wrestlers, is he stopping the takedowns? Is he keeping it on the feet? Is he dictating his game?
He's stopping them so much that I'm scared of his confidence, because when you start to stop that kind of guy, you might be over. Like, to be honest with you, I'm asking him, please disengage. You stop him, that's good, but don't think that you can catch up all that years of wrestling. Make sure that when you stop that, you will move around. Don't stay there with this guy, because in the end of the day, that's what happened with Conor. Conor stopped the takedown or carry it, but eventually get tired and then went in the ground and lost the fight. So I don't want you to try to play the wrestler. I want you to stop that takedown, hurt him, and go back on your feet and start to punch him in the face. That's it.
Love it. A lot of chat this week, of course, about Jon Jones, the greatest, the GOAT. He's back. But it's been a long time since he performed the way people like to romantically remember him performing. His last 3 defences at light heavyweight were all points decisions, questionable decisions, flat performances. Which version of Jon Jones are you focusing on? The guy we've seen recently, or the guy who was at his best 10 years ago?
No, if you want to be smart, you better focus on the best Jon Jones. I mean, if I want to make sure that I don't let any stone unturned, I need to make sure that I need to assume that we will face the best Jon Jones.
Of course.
The reality is that the time is captured up a little bit, and I don't know how much, but we're expecting the best Jon Jones. And what people have to keep in mind is that Jon Jones, as well as Ciryl, they are people who's very smart. They don't need the kinesthesia to learn. They can learn on YouTube. They can learn listening to someone. It's been focused like 3 years, listening, watching TV, watching heavyweights. So don't count that out. It can be something very heavy. I know that Ciryl, I will just send him a technique but the day before the training. The next training, when we arrive, he do that twice and he just masterize everything. They are very good. So I think that Jon Jones is still good.
A dream for a coach. Listen, Fernand, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
enjoy the next 24 hours. We're looking forward to this.
Pleasure to have me.
Good luck to the whole team.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Take care, Fernand.
Thanks for your time.
Take care.
Boom.
Fernand Lopez, the head of Ciryl Gane's corner. Ciryl there, just in the back. What you just witnessed there whilst we were talking to Fernand, just a quick one.
Did Jeff Neal miss weight?
Massively. 175.
Oh, no way.
So Jeff Neal's coming at 175, so that's 4 pounds over the allotted 171 that he was like. He's obviously taking on Shavkat Rakhmonov, head of Shavkat Rakhmonov's team. What
do you say to that?
I'm not surprised. Because Shavkat's, coming into this with so much momentum, of course, and there's a lot of eyeballs on this fight, and Jeff Neal's listening to a lot of people, and sometimes you think, you know what? I'd rather give up 20% of my pace and not kill myself on the scales and be bigger, stronger, faster to be in there against somebody that is formidable. And maybe Jeff Neal's had a tough time on the scales and thought, you know what? Forget the 20%. It's all about just getting the W. He knows Shavkat's not going to turn the fight down because Jeff Neal weighed in at 175. He's fought at 185 before. The fight will go ahead. I think it might just be a little bit of a tactic from Jeff Neal to go, I'm not going to kill myself to make weight because it doesn't really matter. It's all about just getting the W and having an advantage.
Statistically speaking,
you miss weight?
70% of fighters that miss weight win the fight.
Exactly.
So, does that not worry you? Does it not concern you? You just got so much confidence in Shavkat Rakhmonov. He can just take on anybody.
Exactly, and I maintain that. And the fact that Shavkat again has fought up at middleweight makes me. I'm not afraid of what's gone on there. But I think it is a tactic from Jeff Neal. I truly do. I think he's
really.
I think it's a tactic.
You think that was?
I think he's
didn't want to sacrifice the body so much. Come in a little bit heavy. Regardless, yes, he'll lose 20% of the purse.
It doesn't matter.
But I get the victory over a hot prospect.
Exactly. Why kill yourself on the scales? Use the advantages. Okay, some will say it's a little bit unprofessional. He signed a contract to turn up at 171. He hasn't done that. But at the end of the day, this is Jeff Neal's life. This is his business, and he wants against someone like Shavkat, it's millimeters. You need every single advantage you've got. And if killing yourself on the scales doesn't suit you, if you feel like you'll be bigger, stronger, do that.
Got a little bit of action on the stage. Jeff Nowitzki's just on the stage there, obviously talking something.
I think Brunson's going to be awarded
from a testing point of view. Whilst that's going on, we're going to continue talking about the UFC 285, and I want to give you a little bit of an update as well. You okay? Do you need a wee?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine, thank you.
Where's Shavkat?
I've got fake knees. I'm standing there for 2 hours. They hurt.
We've got 5 minutes. We've got 5 minutes before the end of the programme. Just a quick one. Like I said, Jeff Neal was £175, 4 over. Mana Martinez has agreed to forfeit 30% of his purse against Cameron Simon after he missed weight earlier on. So we had 2 weight misses. Everything else was on the money. The interesting talking point, I suppose, if it is a talking point regarding heavyweights, John Jones weighed heavier than Ciryl Gane, only by a pound.
Only by a pound.
They're neck and neck. Yeah. But he's the guy that's coming up from light heavyweight. Obviously, he spent some time rebuilding that body and getting himself into this situation. So there's a little bit of a talking point for people. Do you make anything of that?
No. John came, 10, 20 minutes later. Maybe he was waiting for Ciryl to weigh in, and then give us that litre of water. Or just to
let him know I'm the bigger boy.
Ciryl don't care. Let's be honest. Ciryl Gane couldn't give a damn.
Well, you just heard from Fernand the tactic of being light, being elusive, and being quick.
Yeah. I don't think they're reading that much into it. I don't think John Jones at this point, he's so confident. Things like that, you might say, if you're a novice, if you're an amateur, if you're mentally weak, I'm going to come in heavier.
Yeah.
He's not bothered about that. He's confident in his ability.
Of course.
There's a reason we're talking about him. There's a reason this card is built around him. There's a reason why he's the greatest of all time. He's not sitting there and going, he's going to weigh in heavier than me. I have to drink some water. If anything, he'll come in lighter because it'll still make a point, make his victory even better.
And of course, we do have another title fight on this card as well in Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso. They were the first 2 on the scales. Thank you very much, ladies, for being nice, prompt. 2 hours ago, they weighed in. They've had 2 breakfasts. They've rehydrated, and we will be seeing them in the Octagon on BT Sport tomorrow evening. Right, let's concentrate purely on the main event. Keys to victory, both men. Give it to me how this is going to play down tomorrow night.
Well, it's simple. For John Jones, he's got to get the takedown. Of course, he can't be reckless. He can't just rush in with reckless abandon. He can't bloody just shoot from the outside. He's going to set them up with strikes. That's going to be dangerous. Mm-hmm. If they do come in close, he's going to grab a hold of him, push him up against the fence, and look to take him down from there. Okay, when it hits the ground, position over submission, position establishment is absolutely crucial. John even said that himself. I agree. For Ciryl Gane, it's a lot of movement. He's got to move. He's got to be light on his feet. He's got to be razor quick. The reflexes have got to be on point. The takedown defense is got to be there. If Jones comes in, he's got to box on the inside. He's got to pummel for underhooks. He can't throw knees on the inside because you're going to give him the leg. He's got to limit the kicks to a certain degree and then just go out there and be Ciryl Gane.
Yeah, Mike's absolutely nailed it. I think they're the 2 routes to victory. Ciryl Gane has to box his way, has to kickbox his way to get ahead on points. I don't see him having the kind of power. He doesn't have the one-punch power to put John away with one clean shot. It will be cumulative strikes that do it, just like against Taito Avasa. Can he do that? Absolutely, he can do that to any heavyweight in the world. But John Jones has a clean, direct route to victory. I think all he's got to do is get up close on Ciryl Gane. You're talking about you take down defence, a lot of pummeling, looking for John's kicks, looking for John shooting in. I think the big fear for me is that John's going to get him up against the fence, trip him, maybe even suplex him, take him down that way. John's tricky, man. Even DC said, DC's wrestled at the highest level. John Jones took him down, man. John Jones has got tricks in there, and you're working with someone like Henry Cejudo, who kind of wrote the book on wrestling as well, an Olympic champion. He's going to have a few tricks in there that Ciryl will never have seen before. And as soon as Cyryl's back hits the mat and John gets on top, I think he's in serious trouble.
And the fact that he took DC down, you know, look at DC's stature. Incredible. You know, it's suited for wrestling. It's suited for anti-takedown. Do you know what I mean? Lower centre of gravity, a waistline, the circumference of the earth.
You can say that, you're his mate.
It's a hard man to take down. It's a hard man to grab hold of. I'm just kidding. We all love DC. No, but, you know, all jokes aside, even his accolades, DC's skill and his body type makes him harder to take down because he's a shorter guy with a lower centre of gravity. So against Ciryl,
6'4", long legs.
Physically,
I'm really interested to see this play out on the feet. I don't want to see wrestling too early. I want to see a bit of a kickboxing match.
You will, because that's John's style. John's not going to rush in there and look for a double leg straight away. Why would he do that?
No. But the reason why I'm pointing that out is because he doesn't use the same patterns as John when he's on the feet. So therefore I want to see if Ciryl can figure that out, because a lot of fighters do use the same patterns when they're having success.
It's just dawned on me.
Go on.
I've just predicted the future.
Go on.
Here's what John's going to... Hold on. Yeah, no, God said I'm correct. What's going to happen is...
Go on.
Oh, don't tell him. He said don't tell him because you're all laughing. No. John's going to let Ciryl come to him.
Correct.
John's going to dance around and let Ciryl be the aggressor, make him miss, and then make him enter. That's how he's going to get the clinch. He's not going to go forward because it's too dangerous. Yep. He's going to let John come to him. He's going to dance around. He's going to keep backing off. He's going to be very cagey and elusive. And then when he throws a big shot to get at him to try and make up that space, look, give me your hand. Miss with a shot. Boom, look at that. In. Easy. That's what he's going to do. And that's the way to do it.
That's why he's here, ladies and gentlemen.
It is.
So now you've got a direct line to the big man.
Well, now and again. You know, 10 tequilas in, it doesn't work. You know. Anyway, let's move on from that quick. We're offending people.
Just a quick one on the co-main. We've already expressed, obviously, the disparity between experience and maybe skill level a little bit when it comes to more rounded mixed martial arts. What are the keys to victory for Alexa Grasso coming into a fight with Valentina Shevchenko?
Well, believe in herself for one.
Correct.
That's the biggest thing, belief.
Yeah.
Belief, because that's the biggest obstacle for her to climb, because it's Valentina Shevchenko, just like Ciryl Gane, but even bigger because Valentina's current. She hasn't been away. You just believe in herself and let it all go. She's under no pressure, and then when you feel no pressure, if she truly doesn't allow herself to feel pressure, because it's all well and good saying I'm not under pressure.
Yeah.
But believing that you're not under pressure is a different thing. Just believe in herself. Don't allow their pressure to affect her. And go out and fight like she spars, like she's in the gym. Go out and have some fun. Have some fun.
For me, for Alexa,
make it work.
There's a hot zone. There's a little zone there, too far out. She's open to big head kicks from Valentina, which we know she loves to throw. She can't stay too far out. She's got to be in that hot zone where she can let her hands go. Her boxing is sensational. If it was a boxing match, this could be 50-50. Alexa Grasso's boxing is that good. The problem is, if you then get too close and Valentina's able to get inside, Valentina's got trips for days and you're in serious trouble then, because she will take you down and she'll dominate her on the ground. Crucifixes, we've seen it all from Valentina. So for Alexa, she's just got to stay in that little boxing hot zone, get her shots off, and then get her footwork, pivot out, get away from there.
Card of the year so far, boys?
Absolutely.
Without question.
It's an absolute banger.
No, without question.
Absolute banger. We've got a fantastic main event with a vacant heavyweight title of the world. He's on the line. John Jones is back in the octagon, taking on Ciryl Gane, and that co-main event, Women's Flyweight Championship. Valentina Shevchenko defending again, hoping for another ruby for that belt against Alexa Grasso. It all goes down on BT Sport 1. Make sure you come and join us. 1 a.m. for the prelims, 3 a.m. for the main card. We'll see you at the fights.
Where's Shavkat? Shavkat!